Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Paper Dungeon. As always, we are very excited to be streaming tonight. Drew juked us out 3 times, so we're all a little salty with him. Isn't that right, boys?
Hey,
Yeah,
look,
broke our
guys.
hands verbally.
I think after over 3 years of D&D, me being the most consistent person, I'm willing to. I deserve one day where I can juke you out once.
Nope.
You're competing with Aaron here, buddy.
Wow.
I'm the
We
most
can start this
consistently
now. We can
inconsistent.
start this right now.
let's
I got some
let's
new
start
sound
this
effects.
episode with you guys fighting.
I agree. We'll square up.
We do have a few quick announcements to get through before we get started. Drew, I don't like you right now. You're gonna go last. Grant, would you start us off?
Yeah,
I will
can.
end this stream.
Do it. You won't. Bet.
Technically, I could do it.
Welcome, gamers, to the Paper Dungeon. How's everybody feeling tonight? Today we are going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons. Not a surprise there. Your boys got a new rug, a new shirt, a fancy glass for this special occasion. We're nearing the end of the campaign. If you're on YouTube, thank you for watching us. I appreciate that. If you're on podcasts, we appreciate you listening to us. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free on Twitch. It gives us free money, specifically $2.50, give or take, per free sub, and you have to refresh that. So if you got Prime, let's get those primers in chat. Join us on Monday night sometime. Thank you. I feel like that was weak. Was that weak, guys?
It
How's
started
the
off
energy?
strong. It just ended a little weaker.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
I think
I'm
I'd
just
rate it
a-
like a 7.5.
Well, sorry. Normally, like I assist with the hype. I was so busy watching Drew file the eraser of a pencil.
I was
that
hoping.
what
I
was
was hoping.
happening?
I was hoping to distract one of you guys.
I'm like, what?
There could be kids watching, Drew.
Drew, you animal. Anyway,
Thanks for recovering
very
that
much,
for me,
Grant.
guys.
Aaron, you have our next announcement.
I'm sorry. I feel like I just got mind blasted. What's happening?
Drew's been out here just like juking us
goodness.
left and right mentally. It's crazy.
It's like he threw a flashbang at me. I'm like, "Oh, hey guys,
Finally, my machinations are evolving.
Oh gosh, what we have a website, paperdungeon.com with a www at the front. It has a merch store where you can buy merch. That we should just add a picture of a filed eraser. I don't even know what's going on right now. Other than that, we also have a Discord. You should be in it. It's pretty cool.
Drew is a menace tonight.
And that's about all I've got, honestly.
Hey,
I have
you know,
something
the-
to add to that.
I'm gonna need
Oh, we
like
need-
recovery
yes, Grant.
period.
I mean, it could be a fun little exercise for you right now to see if our website is still up at the point you're listening to this. We'll see. It could be fun. A fun little experiment.
How
if you're
terrible
listening to this in the
it is.
future, then there. Yeah, I mean,
If the website's not
you know,
up,
it could
that
be
means
under
that I
construction,
didn't pay for
probably.
it.
Hey,
Or it's under construction. You know.
We're good.
Well, yeah. I was
Great.
like, shoot, we should probably double check that. That would be really
Absolutely.
awesome.
Drew is ready to go. I don't know what
I don't
he's planning
want to
over
give
there.
Drew the floor.
It's
Do it
he's
yourself.
amazing.
Steal it from
Anyway,
him.
fine, Drew. Do your thing. Whatever.
Hey guys, welcome to Paper Dungeon. If you like our content, check us out on Patreon. You can support us and get some cool content out of it. If you like our content here on Twitch, you can check us out on social media like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Not Facebook though. Don't go to the Facebook, except for in-game too.
that all? That was really great. I
wish
wish I could play
And
my
he's
sultry
done.
romance music
Drew
so
is
bad under
our
that.
Tom Cruise,
There you go, Drew. That's probably the
except
nicest thing Aaron's ever
much
said.
taller than actual Tom Cruise, and he doesn't run as weird.
Well,
And
Drew
he's
hasn't broken
actually
his knee and
won
hip
an
and ankle and
Oscar.
all that type of stuff.
No, but it's all about the pumpy arm run.
Anyway,
It's all on the
thank you
shoulders.
so much for those announcements, Drew. With all that being said, let's go ahead and
Wait,
start with
wait,
tonight's-
wait.
What's your problem?
I just have to point out that it's weird. We're getting close to the end in these intros. They're
Getting
little
worse.
Getting
nuggets.
worse?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's not what I was gonna say. It's just it feels weird to move on. I'm getting all nostalgic.
Grant, I want you while the beautiful intro that Lydia animated for us is playing, I want you to think back on all the times that you've had playing on the Paper Dungeon.
Yeah, you're
because
filling
Grant's
the
not coming back next campaign. Drew, roll the clip.
Welcome to Nico Muris, a world of lost legend and forgotten lore. As the world, still recovering from the decimation of the trial, approaches the turn of the century, ancient evil returns with a lust for darkness and ruin. Follow us into a planar conspiracy as powers beyond your imagination plot the downfall of all that is right and good. 3 years have passed since our heroes fought a war to reclaim a fallen land. Now, they must once again take up arms and write a new story, a tale of glory, fear, and fortune, as they make their way through the Paper Dungeon.
Oh.
All right, and we are back.
There we go.
So, in our previous episodes, our party has returned from the grave with a vengeance. After they died in the siege on their keep by Rycorum, they were each visited by Lonantari, the mother goddess, where she did small tests with them, granted them a boon, and sent them back to the material plane with quests for each of them to individually complete before reuniting to face Clovar. Cather, you were joined by a resurrected Kiamora and a resurrected Vyzin to finish the battle with Rycorum and cut off Clovar's left hand. Abinthy, you joined Miriam Azima and Lorelei Audrian, two of the sacrifices, to face Wisteria Vale and cut off Clovar's right hand, which you were successful at. And while that was going on, Edward, you joined Leshka and a resurrected Tarak to go get the last part of the rod, discover the temple where the Sixth Truth is residing, or one of the Sixth Truth is residing, and get the Vestrusium blade from the dwarves. After you each completed your individual missions and were successful with each of your individual missions, you all slowly made your way back to Gambit's Keep. No, I'm sorry. I had my two things switched. Before you went to Gambit's Keep, you were able to reveal to the world that not only were you alive, but that you were still fighting, and that Clovar is not going to take over the world, and that you guys were going to stop him.
Right, Abinthy used those like fog,
The
giant
hijacked
fog orb marbles that were all around the world.
You guys then returned to Gambit's Keep, where you, all 9 of you, basically arrived along with a few other friends. Volna, Lada, Julia Rain, lots of different people. Basically, anybody that you've ever considered a comrade or a spouse or friend or sibling or anything like that. Just about every important NPC was here. You guys made battle plans. You discovered that now that Wisteria Vale is defeated, that Clovar would be moving forward with his plans within 24 to 48 hours, which didn't give you guys a lot of time to prepare. You know that he no longer cares about gathering the parts of the rod of 7 parts to control the 6 truths. He simply cares about releasing them and then figuring out what to do afterwards, or at least that's your understanding off of the information Wisteria Vale gave you. Knowing this, you know that he has 4 of the 6 sacrifices that he needs, so he can release 4 truths, and you happen to know which truths he's going to go to because each sacrifice is specific to a specific truth. This means that there would be people making their way to the Scarlet Wastes, making their way to the temple near in the country of or the continent of Saladin, near the church actually. There's one up north I can't remember if it was in Rivaluna or not. I think it was, if I remember correctly. But finally, there was one of those temples near Wisteria Vale. It's believed that Clovar would be heading to that one with Zood's Thrym, and you guys decided that each leader of these parties is going to take command a battlement to each of these temples to stop them. And so you have people from the Scholar's Guide, you have people from the Order of the Chosen, you have friends, comrades who are each going to each one of these, and the members of Fate's Gambit are going to make their way to Wisteria Vale to stop Clovar. The plan is to leave within the next day or so and make it there. But we left off with you guys hanging out, chatting. We're going to go ahead and say that it was the evening of the day before when we left off. And so you guys each then went to bed. And with you guys now being in bed, we're going to talk about your boons.
I was going to ask if that's what I was going to ask about.
Also,
Because
GM,
I've been meaning to tell you them for the last 2 sessions, and it just has never really been an important thing to come up. Yes, Drew.
for continuity's sake, I'd written down Eridora was the other place.
Oh,
for
yes.
fear.
Thank you. I appreciate. Yes. I can't believe I forgot that. That's the one temple that I've known about since the beginning of the campaign.
Is that the one where that's the one where Cather and Melora met for the first time?
No.
No?
Eridora is the tiny island.
No, the one
Oh,
that
that's
you
right.
guys-
Eridora is a tiny island. That's right. Yes, that's right.
How could you forget about
The
tiny
temple that you went to
unlimited
actually doesn't have a sacrifice. It just had a piece of the rod.
Ah, I see.
Not all of them have that.
I
In fact,
hope that Abinthy's epic boon is that he can make French bread appear with his mind.
I want it.
That would be a cool 20th level boon.
That would be
let's-
amazing.
We're looking for other
Like
rewards.
any
way
type of
out
French
in the
bread.
boonies.
Like,
Any
Yeah.
type?
could you imagine someone's like, "I will slay you, Abinthy," and he's like, "Baguettes," and then like,
All right,
It just appears and
Baguette now?
shields him.
It would be distracting at the
yeah,
least.
exactly. Like, who would expect it?
Cather,
Oh, me first. Okay.
as you go to bed,
Uh-huh.
you feel tired. You
Uh-huh.
know, finally, like the fact that you are resurrected from the dead, fought a dragon,
Yeah.
immediately made an important speech and traveled and did all this type of stuff. You feel tired, or at least you should feel tired.
Oh.
You're not sure why, but somehow you seem to have an energy to you that is difficult to describe. It's difficult to really understand. But when you wake up in the morning, you got a little pep in your step, almost like a constant runner's high, as you gain the boon of speed.
Oh.
Yo.
So- Your walking speed increases by 30 feet.
Whoa.
In addition, you can use a bonus action to take the dash or disengage action. Once you do so, you can't do so again until you finish a short rest.
Because Jupiter's in retrograde, and you're a Scorpio. That's just the way that the world works.
So yeah, Cather's speed is now 60 feet,
Nice.
which would come in handy like 4 episodes ago when you were being tossed all over the keep.
That
Uh-huh.
would have been handy the entire campaign.
Well, yeah, but that's why it's an epic boon.
Nice.
Come on, French bread. Come on, croissant,
Croissant!
Especially
Abinthy, you go to
effective
bed.
against gluten-free individuals.
bro.
And you have a very interesting dream. You're just hanging out, and I'm not going to really describe the details of the dream, but basically the gist of it is that you're kind of going over the machinations of the world, specifically with how the weave works. And something just kind of clicks, and all of a sudden you realize that you are not going to age anymore.
Nailed it. We got there, baby. We got there.
Shockingly, Abinthy receives the boon of immortality, which doesn't make him invincible or anything like that. It just means that he stops aging entirely.
Cannot die of old age.
Feel like a little bit of a younger man. You
But
wake up in the morning,
theoretically,
and you also have a spring in your step. Not because of speed, but because instead of being a 45-year-old man who's not even all that old, you feel like you're 20 again.
Boy,
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never made that noise before, and I never will again.
I love it.
I probably will again.
but like you could still get like terminally ill or something.
Oh,
yeah,
you can still get
I
sick.
can
You can still
die.
get killed. You can still die. It's just that he stops aging. So as long as he
Okay.
doesn't get murdered, he'll be fine.
Okay, respect, man. Good work. Good work out there.
Edward, you go to bed, and when you wake up, you feel heavier.
Oh man.
Edward got
Not
fat.
sluggish, but almost like there's this aura to you, that there's something protecting you. And you gain the boon of invincibility.
Hey, Hey.
What?
Oh.
What does that mean?
When you take damage from any source, you can reduce the damage to 0.
What?
Once you use
Bro.
this boon, you can't use it again until you finish a short rest.
Bro.
oh, we
No,
just.
So it's
he
like a
blocks an
one-time
attack and
use
it just
per
goes
day.
To sleep.
For short rest. Yeah, so like you can
short
technically
rest.
use it twice in a day because you like have a big combat in the morning, take a short rest, and then have a big combat in the afternoon. Then you'd be good. But yeah, basically
And
like
it's-
you take go for it.
It's for magic and melee. It's
Of
just like
any source.
Dude, I'm just saying, if you had the bard spell catnap every 10 minutes, buddy,
oh, bro.
just like zonk out, wake up, tank 100 damage, zonk out, wake up.
Bro, Edward's about to be a zonker and a half, dude. Are you kidding me?
It's just gonna be like, wait. Before we get into the next fight, I just need to take a quick nap.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, it's like, wait, can we take a short break? Hear me out. I know we're like just about to
Pause,
fight
pause,
Clovar,
pause.
but I
Calm
need
it down.
this.
Like I really could use a little bit of a nap. So yeah, those are
Okay.
your guys' boons.
Nice.
Those along with the boons of Lon and Tari, and the fact that you're 20th level, hopefully should give you enough of an edge to actually have a chance against Clovar. We'll see.
No
that is
tactical
massive.
advantage. Because I,
mean, we
didn't
won't-
need it.
We won't die, right?
Bro, here's the thing. If there's ever a fight that I just can't hold back on, it's got to be the final fight, right?
That's true.
You
Plus,
should
Lon
try
and
to-
Tari's got our backs.
Try to hit me with a bunch of aging spells, please.
Yeah,
Have him be a ghost, and I'm just
yeah.
fight me. Bro, what are you gonna do? Look at
Like,
me,
what's
my
gonna
age.
happen? How is it gonna work?
I doubt it.
All right,
Yeah.
we got fast, young, and
Virile.
thank you.
Armor.
All
Do you
right,
guys have any questions on that?
I got it.
Drew,
I feel like it's pretty straightforward.
let's see. There was one that I was debating with for Drew. Give me one more
I'd
second.
love to hear it. Is this book time? Welcome to the part of the paper dungeon where the DM looks through the books he owns.
I already did it.
Welcome to the
Adds to the
con.
campaign or the compilation.
I think it was.
Boon of instant murder.
I already have that.
I think
Boon of
I can't
double
remember.
murder.
I think what I was debating was between giving Drew the boon of invincibility and the boon of speed. And then when I chose to do the boon of speed, because I was like, the invincibility is cool. Or maybe it was the boon of fortitude, where it's like you just get a bunch of more hit points. Maybe that's what it was. I think that's what it
Fun to
was.
step
I'm
on the
pretty
same
darn
playing
happy.
field as Tarek.
I figured Drew would like being able to run around more.
I mean,
And I
yeah,
like taking
60
less
move
damage.
speed. That's pretty helpful.
It's very helpful. I'm scared about it, honestly. And
So,
you can just
like-
like, never mind. I'm going to disengage. But sorry.
Yeah. Peace out. I just gained one level, or like I don't know, like 2 levels in rogue or whatever. Whatever level you get
Fortunately,
coming
you can
in
only do it once per short rest, but nonetheless.
I'm telling you, catnap. We need to pick it up.
So, you guys each wake up feeling younger, protected, faster, somehow feeling really good having just come back from the dead and going and having a fight. What would you guys like to do?
Wow.
I've run a 5K marathon. And
In
That's a good
10
question.
seconds.
Edward, you get up, you
Ew.
go make some tea, and because half of the keep is destroyed, the central room, there's still the kitchen, but like there's just an open exposed pile of rubble next to you. And it's kind of like the Captain America at the Washington Monument scene in the second movie where he's running around and he's doing laps, and then there's Falcon and he's like on your left, on your left, like 2 seconds later.
Great,
That's
that's
what's going on, where you're like making tea and he's done like 7 laps in the time it's taking you to make tea.
I'm Falcon, but I'm not running. He just keeps
Oh, I
passing me
get
and
it
telling
now.
me that I'm on his left, that he's on my left.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do on the morning of a time that you're going to go and fight the like superpower that's ancient and risen from the dead and probably going to be a tyrant if they win? Like, what do you even do in that?
I know exactly
You
what
know
I'd
what I
like
mean?
to do.
What would you
Yeah.
like to do,
Um,
Abinthy?
Thanks for the intro, Grant.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna
I was trying to segue.
teleport away.
Oh,
He just-
okay.
he just-
As he runs past, I go, Heather, I'll be right back. Gotta talk to someone real quick. Oh, well, I don't think he did that quick. And then
What was that,
I'll teleport
Abinthy?
away.
I didn't hear you.
I'm gone.
Oh, he's gone.
Abinthy, where are you teleporting to?
I'm gonna teleport to the mountain with Talanosh and Yorwick.
You teleport onto their little rocky outcropping. It's not so early in the morning that you've caught them asleep. So Yorick is in his workshop, clanging away. You don't see Talanashta, but there is a light on in the cabin. So you assume that that's her.
Yeah, I'll stop by the workshop with Yorwick first.
Okay.
I'll lean real cool against the door frame.
Abinthy,
Yorwick, how are you
what can I
today?
do for you, friend?
Mainly, I just came by to kind of inform people of the situation. I've been a bit absent as of late. I'm assuming that, well, you know me, so I doubt that either of you truly thought that I was dead. But I'm not. I lived. Well, kind of. And
I'll have you spare me the details.
I'm sure that we'll talk about it eventually. But also, I would like to apologize, because I haven't exactly been in contact very well. And I am sorry about that. Secondly, I need to ask a small favor
All right.
that I'm just gonna see how you feel about it. So you know how way back when we had talked about how we wanted Talanashta to see the drow and kind of reconnect with her people in some regard, so at least so that she has like seen another drow. Yeah. We had contacts in place within the Underdark to assist us with communication with the drow. Do we still have those? Did they die? Are they gone?
After Talanashta died, I didn't really keep in touch with them a whole lot, so I'm not really aware.
Well, if you could you try to get in contact with them like today? And see if they'd be willing to just absolutely destroy a couple of encampments of potential soldiers and wizards that threaten their capability of conquering the material plane.
I mean, I can send a message to the old channels.
That's all I'm asking.
You know, I can do that, I guess.
Yes, so if you could do that. I know that I just show up and I'm like, hey, sorry, I'm not dead. Sorry, I haven't talked in like 3 days. Well, longer than 3 days. Hey, could you do this thing for me? And that's very rude. But we've got a fight to go to.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
And also, like, I'm, I don't mean this to be offensive, but like, this is nothing new with you, so.
Yeah, I am going to try to be a better man from now on. I really am, Rolwick. I'm really going to try.
Right.
I know I've said it before, but this time It's gonna happen.
Yorick will walk over to you, kind of like look down at you, and then just put out his big meaty paw for a handshake.
I like.
I look forward to the new you.
That's good. Is Tolonost in the cabin?
I think so.
Okay. If I die, I deserved it. And I'm gonna go head to the cabin.
Okay.
And like,
You do hear Yorick just kind of chuckle to himself as he goes back to work after you say that.
yeah.
But
So I'll roll up to the cabin.
Mhm.
Tut, 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 tut.
Yorick, why are you knocking? This is your house. Like, come on. And then she goes and she opens the door like in the middle of her sentence. Abinthy.
Tolonost!
She just totally punches you in the gut.
Yeah. The arms don't drop.
And she'll just grab you. She'll give you a hug.
Yes, my dear. I am so sorry.
Not do that, please.
I try to avoid death regularly.
Yeah, well, you didn't do a good job this time. So
Hey, there's a first. People make mistakes. Currently, my KD ratio is incredible.
I suppose that's true.
But
So,
Yeah.
like, how are you alive? Like, what?
well, I mean, if you really think that Abinthy Triplets would die that easily.
They like broadcasted your corpse being buried.
Fake news. I'm Abinthy Triplets. Everything was fine. Not a chance of anything possibly going wrong. I'm sorry. I should have prepared more for this. But I have some news.
Okay.
Mainly, Yorwick is going to reach out to some old channels, and they were originally intended to help you make some form of contact with the Drow. And so I know that you are entirely unprepared for this, but there's a definite chance that I may need you to speak to the Drow because you're one of the few that they theoretically won't kill on sight.
Oh, okay.
Basically, we've got to go deal with Clovar. But there's like 6 total places on the entire world that have bad things there, and we don't have the manpower to cover every single one very effectively. And so I'm hoping that the Drow will be willing to take care of at least one of them.
Okay. Do you have like a location for me to send them to, or?
Abinthy absolutely does.
Aaron,
DJ,
however.
you just pick one of them that makes sense, and Abinthy would know makes sense.
Probably Saludine, right?
Well, no, they can just go to Eridoa. It connects to the Underdark already.
That is true, actually.
Erido is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like the most isolated place. There's nothing around it. So we'll send the Drow to Eridoa.
Great.
There's a tiny uninhabited island that I would like to quickly become habited with Drow.
Oh, okay. I can let them know that. Yeah, if they show up and hopefully don't kill me.
But I'm so sorry to put you in danger, my dear. But
No,
I
that's okay.
trust
Like,
your
I'm
capability.
Yeah.
Also, I sent you a hat. That's yours. I mean, it's my hat, but you can please keep it. It should assist with keeping you safe.
Okay. Did she already get this hat, or?
Yeah, remember I dramatically left it drift from the roof.
Oh, yes.
And that hat has my it's the one that he always wears, and it has a like a periaptive wound closure. That's the name of it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So
I think it looks quite good on me.
Talnanoshta, I don't think that there's anything that wouldn't. You strike quite a figure, and by the way, it is a fantastic hat. So, fantastic hat for a fantastic girl.
Thank you.
I need to leave again. I will be back. I am going to a dangerous place, but I'm not going to lie about that, and things could get pretty hairy. But I'll be back.
She'll just kind of, she's like looking down at the floor before she'll just like reach out and kind of grab your hand lightly and then look up at you. Don't die. And you better come back. Okay? I can't lose you again.
Even upon failure, my dear, I promise that if it gets to the point where I don't think that I would make it out, I will immediately abandon everyone else there.
I don't know if that makes me feel better or not.
I don't know if it makes me feel better either, but strangely, it's true. I should probably work on myself as a person as soon as this is all over.
Hopefully there's a world for you to do that in.
It's a world that you're in, so I can't just let it disappear.
Okay.
I'm not going to lose you again, and I promise you won't lose me. Besides, Cather's there. He's all fancy with the healing magic, so it'll be
I
fine.
like Cather. Cather's a good guy.
I know. Careful. Hey now. I know that he is an incredibly handsome, ripped man, but I don't want you getting any funny ideas. I know that he for some reason, likes to walk around oiled and shirtless 24/7, but it's a trap. And it's two traps, actually.
I don't think I'm trying to be
I mean, he
homer
was a drow
is that the term?
once.
Wait, what? He was drow once?
Look, I mean, he's a moon. You're both elves. I understand you're a young lady in the prime of her life. You're out there, you're looking...
Abernathy, you should stop talking.
What? God? That's a good advice. I need to get back. I'm sure that Edward is out there doing something stupid.
She's gonna hug you very tightly.
Ooh.
Excuse
Yes.
me.
Yes, I will return the hug. Good luck, and you the same. If you think at all that those drow are going to do anything unbecouth to you, get out of there. And you don't look. I recommend you take Yorwick with you, but he's strong. If you can't take him with you, you don't have to. He can fend for himself. Yorwick would say the same.
Okay. I'll probably take Yorwick with me.
All right. Remember to eat your vegetables.
Okay. All right. You can leave now. Bye. Don't die.
Wash behind your ears. Remember, we always.
Do you really want
at
potentially
night,
the
we
last
stay
thing
at
for
the
you to say to
same
me is
sky,
to
the
like
same
wash behind my ears and
stars.
brush my teeth?
Oh, that's good. I had forgotten about that one. Make sure you brush your teeth. Of course, you probably won't have time for that because we'll be done. We'll be done before the
door
day
now.
ends. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. And then I'll teleport back to the camp. Man, I don't understand why I was so terrified that whole time. Also, where did you learn to punch like that? Cather, did you teach Talnanoshta how to punch? I feel like I've been punched that way once before, and it was form perfect. When did you possibly teach her how to do that? You only saw her for like 2 days.
Cather, you've been jogging for the last 5 minutes, and you're on lap like 40.
Yeah. I was gonna say, probably at some point during while Abernathy was gone, Cather finishes his morning jog, and just kind of breathing heavy before walking over to Edward and getting some breakfast.
Yeah, and Edward has already he has this fancy tray, and it's loaded with a whole tea set. It's got a plate of eggs, and pancakes are the equivalent at the time. He is shirtless as he does in the mornings.
I'm like that pancakes have been around for like 2,000 years. It's flour, water cooked over a hot surface.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Edward can
Just
pull it
his-
off, even though he's
his
not much of a cook.
12-pack abs.
Yeah,
See,
dude.
like, drop some melted butter.
I mean,
on
you
him,
can
he's
tell
like,
he's
"Ugh."
toned. You can tell he's toned because he's been like training with Tarak again.
Yeah.
You know, he's worked
Oh, yeah.
worked off
For the
that
past
stubborn
day.
fat. Yeah.
Dude, the orcish workout regimen burns fat quick.
Yeah, it's gnarly. And you're in sand.
It's like
you know, it's-
P90X, bro.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
well, yeah.
I love the
but it
fact
costs
that
way
every
less.
person our age knows what P90X is because every one of our parents was on it.
We had it in my house. I remember like
Oh,
having
yeah.
this the full
Our parents
set.
did
And I don't
P90X.
think anybody ever did.
I think our entire generation's parents did P90X.
Yeah. So Edward has this big tray, and
Kimura,
he-
will stretch. Ugh.
of course,
Ugh.
is he also shirtless?
Of course,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we just have to lay the ground rules here.
For the
Catherine,
record,
you know,
for the record,
Shirtless with his dope 2 sleeves that he's got going on, the mountainscape
Yeah.
on one, the tree on the other.
only sleeves, bold fashion choice.
Oh, yeah, dude. And they're like finger gloves. They're the ones
They're,
that
they're
go
like the
around,
compression sleeves.
and it's just
Arm
up to
long
there.
gloves.
Yeah.
for the record, Cather is wearing a shirt. Just saying.
But it's like he's like slick with sweat, so it's
Boring.
stuck so
You look
tight
like you
to
must
his
be so
abs.
warm. Let me
white shirt.
let's just take that off. You know, you look like you're so warm from your
It's
run.
like 2 sizes too small.
Oh my god.
It just like strains at the seams. Apathy puts
I
on a
can't
layer
do
of
this.
clothing.
Thanks for breakfast, Edward.
Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't for any of you. I have
Oh.
someone to tend to this morning.
Oh, you do.
Oh. I guess
my
I'll
wife.
get started on breakfast. Hey, Tarak,
Yes.
you're shirtless and ready to cook in
I
the kitchen,
burst
right?
out of the rubble.
And
You're
I
like
go,
shirtless and ready to cook in the kitchen, right?
I don't own a shirt.
Great. Cather, take your shirt off. We gotta cook.
Is full plate mail acceptable?
And whenever the grease from the pans like splatter and hit them, they are like ah
Ugh.
ah.
As they like flex their chest. Ah! Ah! Ah!
Cather just face palms and walks away.
I-
and go
Wow,
and go.
that's hot.
Kiamura would
gets a
definitely like
change-
turn away
and
from
gets
the
a
stove
change
and
of
full
clothes.
Icarus.
It's time to turn over.
He flips a pancake.
Yeah, absolutely. So Edward, you
Nice.
made breakfast for someone?
Yeah, for Sam, for my
For your
beloved.
wifey?
Yeah, I mean, he was the first one out of bed in the
Mhm.
morning. He
Of course,
woke up early
absolutely.
just to start preparing this.
Mhm.
He made tea the way she likes. It's jasmine, which Edward likes, but he thinks is a little too delicate. So he did his best, even though it's not his favorite. He made jasmine for Sam. And
what a
he
gentleman.
will make his way to their room, whatever the semblance of their room is.
Yeah,
Just
your
3/4
tower's-
of a room.
Your tower is still alive for the most
Yeah.
part. A little bit of like the very top of the tower's been broken off, but like the main living section is still there. And so you make your way into your room. It's
To open it, try to open it quietly and back up slowly with the tray.
It's still
Yeah.
dark in the room as Sam is still clinging to the last little bit of sleep that she can.
Rise and shine. I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, Edward will walk in. He'll do the sweet thing where he sets the tray down next to the bed on Sam's side, and then he gently wakes her up.
Mhm,
Maybe he. I don't want to get too.
Come on,
crazy.
Grant. I'm ready for
He,
the role play. Let's do it.
Yeah, he
Sit on the bed, brush the hair away.
brushes her hair out of her face and says, "Good morning." And he's and maybe
morning.
he's lit a candle or something. I don't know.
Oh, that smells
So-
nice.
It's
Yeah,
not a
it's,
scented candle.
It's vanilla. It has
She's-
vanilla bean in it.
The hand that you use to pull hair out of her face, she'll like slowly grab it and just kind of like pull you onto the bed a little bit.
Yeah, it's all
Talking about
sweet
breakfast
and tender.
in bed. God dang.
Oh my gosh.
Shut up, Aaron.
Edward like is like looking over at the bed tray, like nodding to it as if he's like, "Hey, notice that.
She hasn't
Hey,
even
check
opened
that
her
out."
eyes yet. She's completely like just trying as much as she can to like not have to wake up, but also like get you to cuddle with her. But
Yeah.
eventually like she notices the fact that you're kind of like not cuddling with her, and so she'll open her eyes.
And then Edward will say, "It smells like pancakes." And he looks at the tray.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
did you make? That's so sweet of you.
It's the cheesiest thing you ever
Well-
said.
Well, look,
Is it good or is it just sweet?
I've never made pancakes before, except for one time when I helped in the kitchen with the boys.
Were you shirtless?
And
I think I saw art of this.
I was.
There was a painting.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it's been going around.
It's in the
so
secret,
I
the
did my
black market
best.
galleries.
And I made eggs, and I made jasmine tea, your favorite. And here's what I'm thinking. We haven't had a normal day together. We've spent time together. We've gotten married, but we haven't been together. And so that's my gift to you today, is a normal day. We can have breakfast in bed, we can stroll, we can do whatever you wish and pretend like we're not at the cusp of the end of the world for once. just in case, after. It's not,
We're not gonna talk about that. That sounds great. Yeah, let's do it. And she'll sit up and wrap the sheet around her because,
Oh, okay.
That was
And then she'll go
completely
over and she'll-
unnecessary. That was 100% unnecessary.
hey,
Hey,
No. Let's go.
before she'll go over and she'll start with breakfast.
Okay. From here on out,
Mhm.
like Edward and Sam, I almost forgot her name.
Wow. Worst husband ever.
Edward and Sam, the love of his life, they will spend a semblance of the day. Like eventually Edward will have to make goodbyes and stuff, but
Mhm.
they're essentially just going to enjoy their company. And it's going to be light, and it's going to be fun, and it's not going to be about anything existential. And so I don't think we need to roleplay any of that per se, but that's how he chooses to spend at least like the majority of the first part of the day with
Okay,
Sam.
absolutely, yeah. You guys at least spend the whole morning together. You have breakfast, you read together, enjoy tea,
We go on
just
a
talk, chat.
walk on the cliffside.
You go down by the beach, where you're holding each other's sandals. It's very romantic.
Yes, very romantic.
While this is going on, Cather,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do in the morning? I can go for a run.
Well, after the run, he'll get changed out of his sweaty clothes, and get a breakfast, something for
Cather, I
breakfast.
made pancakes and they're definitely burnt.
Thank you, Kimura. Thank you. And
Sorry, they're a little got a little Cajun seasoning on them.
Uh-huh.
That's
I-
fine. The
I can see
burning
that.
adds flavor.
That's right.
Uh-huh. And after that, he'll just kind of, he'll put on his armor and his full gear and equipment. And just kind of like do a light patrol around the area. I assume there's still some people like camped around the keep, since obviously the keep itself is half destroyed anyway.
Half of the keep's destroyed, but yeah, there's a few people that are beginning to pack up as they're going to make their way to leave today. There are several people that are being sent out today. You do see that like Vyzen and Volna are sharing a tent. It's very interesting. So you do see like there's that tent. There's obviously like Lada's tent and Edward's, not Edward's mother. But there's a few other tents around. Absolutely, Leshka's tent, whole 9 yards.
Yeah. He'll just kind of walk around, just kind of between some of the tents, and just kind of reminisce a little bit, and just kind of think about the first time that they came to, Katin, all those years ago, and just, the whole journey that it has taken to get to this point where they are gearing up for the final battle. Before eventually, after a little bit of time has passed, and kind of most everyone has kind of gotten going with their morning and is making, is packing up, he will make his way over to Vyzen and Volna, wherever they are.
Yeah, they're still in their tent.
Approach.
You approach the tent. There's clearly like people not doing things. That sounds bad, but there are people that are up.
Working on anything.
Yeah, there are clearly people up and going about their morning, so on and so forth.
Right. He'll just kind of walk over and just kind of open the flap of the tent and just say, "Knock, knock. Is anyone alive in here?"
Cather, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well.
That's good. Is Vyzen still in the tent?
Yeah, Vyzen's just like lounging on the bed.
I see. You're still not a morning person.
I don't know. The whole like being dead and then coming back thing really makes it so I don't really want to wake up. I think that's the thing. What can I do for you?
Well, I was just
You're going soft on me, aren't you?
I've always been the softie. You've known this.
Aaron Clubrad.
I looked at Grant. That was my big mistake.
I don't know. It's very strange. We've worked so hard to get to the point that we're at now, and it just feels surreal. And for you to be here again and to be with Volna again, I don't know. I don't quite know how to feel about all of it. The end.
Well, let's hope that it's not the end. That maybe it's the beginning of some actual peace in our lives.
That would be nice. I agree.
I think it's well deserved.
Yes, we've certainly worked a lot for it. Volna.
Yes.
I know you probably don't want to hear this from me.
Are you about to tell me something I don't want to hear? Because I don't know if I want to hear it then.
I'll do my best to come back. Promise.
That was not something I wanted to hear. I'm going to be honest.
And you would have been upset with me if I didn't say it after I left. So...
Well, yeah, you big dummy. Of course I would have been upset, but that doesn't make me want to hear this anymore. And she's just going to go over and just kind of pull you into a hug.
Yeah, I'll return the hug and just...
When are you guys leaving? Are you leaving tonight or tomorrow morning or?
Probably tonight. I mean, time is of the essence, and
yeah,
the longer we wait, the more chance the world ends. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I have to go get moon elves together, so.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of time to wait anyway.
Yes. If something happens, just here, take this, and Cather will give Volna a sending stone.
Okay.
If anything happens or you feel like you need to get in contact with the rest of us, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually probably a really good idea. Something I thought about we should all have some sort of way of contacting each other so that if anything goes wrong, like we can update everybody as it's going.
Yeah, hopefully, once I have a chance to sit down with the others, we can kind of fully organize what the plan is and have a solid idea of what the approach will be. But hopefully we can gather enough allies quickly enough to do something. And he'll just kind of sit there quietly for a while and just kind of hold her tight before just kind of resting his forehead to hers.
Mm-hmm.
I love you so very much, Volna, and you have been the biggest blessing in my life. Thank you for being the best big sister I could ask for.
I love you too. I'm so happy that you came into my life. And I'm so happy and proud of who you've become.
Thank you.
So, go win, come back, and I guess keep being my brother. Alright?
Yes. Yes. And he'll let go before turning to Bison and kind of
At this
pulling.
point, he's gotten up and slightly gotten dressed. He's been like, it's kind of been funny because you guys have been having this like really nice, intimate moment,
yeah.
and then he's just been like kind of like quietly getting dressed in the corner and like putting armor on and trying not to make noise.
Right.
So you like turn to him and he's like in the middle, like putting up a racer, and he's like, "Can I make noise?"
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, thank you,
Okay,
Bison. And Catherine will walk over and just kind of put an arm around him and pull him in close and kind of again like rest his forehead against Bison's.
You know, you're doing the whole like horned elf thing. I think Yamura's taking too much of an impact on you.
Well, what can I say? He's a pretty good influence.
I suppose that's true. He seems like a good guy when the right player is playing him.
Let's go.
What players? What are you talking about?
I don't know. He was just kind of, after he came back, he was just a little weird.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of, I don't know. It was kind of cute though. You know, it's kind of like
Who's he to talk? He had an accent when he came back.
Be safe and keep her safe.
That was my mission in life. Now that I'm back, it's still my mission.
Good.
For as long as I'm here.
And Catherine will pull away. Well, good luck to both of you. And I'll see you both on the other side of this.
Absolutely. Before you go to leave, Volna says, Could we go for a little walk real quick, actually, before you leave?
Yeah, of course.
You guys duck out of the tent.
Sibling time. Let's go.
And she kind of starts walking kind of out towards the beach, towards the cliff that leads down to the beach.
They see Edward and Volna walking by the beach.
You mean
Edward and Sam. Yeah.
Wow, Grant.
It's like Ross and Rachel-esque bad, man. Like, come on.
Sorry, but don't worry, we can't hear you guys. So.
Oh my god.
Well, no, you guys are like 50 feet down lower by the beach and all this type of stuff. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry for killing the moment.
Just focus. Receive.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, of course. What is it?
Okay, like as a neutral third party who's close friends with both of them, is it weird that I stayed with Vizen last night? Even though, like, Kiyomura and I are kind of...
Flirting with each other?
Yeah. You know, like, I know that Vizen's not around for very long, so I didn't want to lose my chance to be with him again for a while I could, but I don't know if that's fair to Kiyomura.
Well,
But I also still very much care about Kiyomura, and I'm scared about him too.
I guess I understand what you mean. In my own way, it's very different, though. I think the two of you deserved one night of happiness, since you were robbed of that. And to be honest, I don't... Even though I do know Kiyomura fancies you, I also know that he still very much loves Wisteria Vale and cares for her. Even he's not ready to be in that kind of relationship yet. So no, I don't think you did anything wrong.
That's good. Okay. I think he'd understand too. I think we're both a little broken because of all of this. So, yeah. Okay, well, that's just what I wanted to ask you about. So yeah, tell Kiyomura that I tell him not to die and that he better come back. And that I'm excited to see him when he's back.
Actually, speaking of that, how do you feel about Kiyomura possibly becoming the final sacrifice?
Well, it's not really something I've thought a lot about. You know, like, I have absolutely no authority over his life or any of the choices that he makes. So my opinion probably doesn't really matter. I think he's certainly qualified. I think he has a really good heart and would make a good candidate. He's capable, he's powerful, he's got his heart in the right place. So I think he makes a really good candidate for it. But I wouldn't really wish that on anybody. So I don't know, you know, I don't think it really is something for me to have an opinion on.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. I don't know, I feel conflicted
How do you
about
feel
it.
about it? You don't like it? You don't like it because you can't do it.
No. I mean, while I am more than willing to do it, I'm not all that eager to do it myself. But I suppose I'm even less eager for him to do it just because Kiyomura's a good man. And he deserves to get to spend the rest of his life with somebody that he loves and not just go through the pain of losing people over and over again. He views this as his chance to finally prove himself, which perhaps it is, but the reality is he's already proven himself. And, at least in my mind, for him to hold on to this idea of being a martyr is his way of proving that he's worthy of something. I don't think it's the right way for him to think. But you're right. It's also his choice to make, ultimately.
Yeah, it's also really interesting because the title of sacrifice is both entirely accurate and also very misleading, I think. But maybe that just depends on the person, right? There are some people who they wouldn't view any of the benefits of this as something sacrificial, like Lorelai. She, from what my understanding of her, is that she did it entirely to live forever. But also, there's other sacrifices that I've heard of. What was his name? Oscorus, who became a drunkard because of it. So I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there, since it doesn't matter if we can't stop Clovar.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. And as long as Zoods ends up dead and his truth ends up dead, then
we're fine. We don't have to worry about it.
it doesn't really matter.
I guess, yeah. Just depends on how it all shakes out.
Yeah. Well, obviously, do your best and let Kiyomura make his own choices. Don't take it upon yourself to stop him if it comes down to it, or make it your job to make sure it doesn't come to it. You don't need that on your shoulders already.
You're right.
You can't solve everybody's problems. So how about you just save the world and be satisfied with that, okay?
I'll try.
All right.
Maybe you need to be there with us just to hold me back.
I would say, hey, Cather, you should not do that, and then you'd probably still go do whatever it is you're gonna do.
I don't know,
because I physically can't stop you.
But you've also given me like that glare. You know the one like the don't do that glare. That's a stupid idea. Like the one that you used to give
so many stupid ideas.
The one that you used to give to me and Vyzen back in the day, like when we were about to jump off of a cliff into an ocean.
Trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how Vyzen broke his ankle the first time. Like, come on.
The first time.
I mean, but he had a great time.
Until I had to help carry him home.
Well, we both did that,
whatever.
But
you guys do whatever you want. I don't care. Never mind. I do care. I can't say that right now. I do care. I love you. Anyway, I'm going to go now.
Yeah. As she walks away, Cather will just kind of stand and kind of watch her walk away for a moment before turning back and looking down at the beach and seeing Edward and Sam.
Yeah, Edward and Sam are like giggling and like splashing each other with some water and all this other stuff. Being very cutesy.
Yeah, it's adorable. It's painfully cute, Cather.
It's gross.
Disgustingly adorable.
Yeah, it's just absolutely.
It's one of those things where like you love it when
Edward-
you're the one doing it, but if you watch somebody else do it, you go, man, that's.
You hear Edward calling Sam Pookie of all things.
Literally, you're standing there looking down, and you don't even notice it. But Abinthy has been standing next to you for like 10 seconds, and he just goes, "This is hard to watch."
Oh my goodness, Abinthy!
My Sammy Whammy, stuff like that.
When did you get there?
Edward
How long
been
have you
here.
been standing next to
Edward would be
me?
a pet name guy.
I was right behind you and Volna. She said goodbye as she left.
Okay, right.
I haven't been following you. It's just a coincidence.
Okay, where did you go off to?
I had to go talk to Yorwick and Talanosh to put some plans in play, see if they could reach out to some old contacts and maybe get the Drow to deal with Eridora.
All right. That's not a bad idea at all, actually.
Yeah, well, hopefully it doesn't go badly. I'm sure that it could have zero terrible repercussions in the future.
I'd give it like a 50.
I think 50. I think 50 is.
Yeah.
50 is maybe a little generous, but yeah.
I mean, it just depends on how many of the Drow are left afterwards.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if there's only a couple of them, then they're just gonna go back.
Yeah. Do you happen to know? Are any of the Chosen still around, or did they leave while I was gone? No, they're all gone.
I think
God's shaking his head. No.
most everyone.
Last night.
Yeah, most everyone I think
it.
is packed up at this point.
Is there
But
anyone
the-
that I could requisition some resources from?
What kind of resources
I
do you
mean-
need?
Theoretically,
like,
the leader.
I'm
Wait.
a part of the chosen.
I mean,
Well,
Lestra's still around if you
theoretically, the
need something,
leader
perhaps from the
has-
Scholar's Guide.
He might be a good
yeah, that'd
a
work.
good case for.
Or
You
I mean,
might be
I
able
know.
to, like sending stone to the.
I
leader,
also
too,
know
don't
Leshka
Yeah.
it kind of seemed that he was willing to kind of do whatever was needed to, if that
Yeah.
meant transporting or messaging or whatever.
You see,
So-
normally I would just ask Edward to contact the Chosen, but I really don't want to interrupt whatever this is.
It's
Stop.
it is a little
I feel like-
off-putting.
I feel like there's like a 30-foot barrier of sweetness that I would just get stuck in, and it was like sticky and gross.
You know, I think
They're
personally,
giggling so loudly.
I just
This is the ocean; it's not quiet.
I can't get past the fact that like this beach, like there's been a lot that's happened at this beach, and I can't get past
Yeah.
just the wholesomeness that is that on the same beach.
I know
You
it's
know?
hard to. You used to scream into the rain on this very cliff.
Yes, I did do that a couple times. A couple times before you were around, actually.
Oh man, that's even more. I know that you would snake out at night.
Can we just take a moment to reminisce on this beach? This is where you guys met Volna for the first time.
Yep.
She flirted with Havel.
Uh-huh.
This is where Cather and Melora fell in love,
Uh-huh.
and then desperately
okay,
hated each other.
Well, I would argue they fell in love at
Are
a
you
different
throwing
place.
a theoretically at this flashback of this beach?
But
right now?
yes,
I'm
but
just
yes.
saying-
There's like
There-
the montage.
but yes,
and the
here's
camera
a-
goes,
Cather
All I'm saying
has
is-
had
Oh,
romantic
man.
moments with
Get-
Melora on this beach.
give it 50 years, and this beach is going to be a vacation town for lovers
And it's gonna
because
be
of all the
ruined.
stories about it.
This
It'd
is
be the
also where
worst.
Edward played the song for Renaya. Well, I guess I was
Mhm.
like under a tree.
This was one of the early chess places too, right?
Yeah, this might have been the first
Well,
chess.
It's very
moment.
interesting just because this area, Katin and Lada's cabin and all this type of stuff, was like your guys' first kind of home as a group.
Yeah.
This is where you guys smashed the soul gem with Tarak's hammer, all that type of stuff.
We were attacked by like one of the Prazis' dudes, whatever his name was. I don't even remember at this point.
Were you,
And you know that
rapping, Grant?
diamond. No, I said a funny joke, but I was muted, so I'm gonna say it again. You know that diamond wasn't the only thing Lada was smashing in this location, because Terracolamos's island was right there, and they were a thing. That's what I said
Wow,
when
Grant.
I was
It
muted.
was so beneficial that you were muted the first
Yeah,
time.
I was gonna
and
say
then
you
went
should not
and
have
you-
said that.
And you went and ruined it.
Yeah, that was a
God came down and helped you out there, Grant. He was like, "I'm just gonna be this warrior."
I'm just gonna
and
throw
then you
that
went
blessing
against
away.
God's will. But yeah, apathy will be there, and it was like a couple of awkward moments of silence as they like lord over the loving couple below, and then apathy will speak up and go. So, what do you plan to do when this is all over?
Oh boy. That's kind of a big question.
Yeah, I just threw it out there.
Yeah, you did. I guess that depends. I mean, assuming we all make it out to the other side all right and in one piece, I would.
Well, I mean, assuming you do.
Assuming I do, yes.
I mean, that's the only thing that would stop you from
Well,
continuing to to
Yeah.
do things that come next if you just die.
Yes, well, it'd be harder to do things with you guys, though, if you were dead, too.
Yes, I suppose that's fair.
But,
I
mean,
expect that we never talk after this.
Well, I guess that's up to you more than me. I mean, after this, I would like to be able to, spend some time relaxing, but certainly, I imagine we'll have to spend a lot of time helping rebuild the world.
You don't have to.
Well, that's right. We don't have to, but I would like to.
It's fair.
And, although, speaking of one thing I would like to do, I would like to go visit, the Soul Stealer again. I'd just pay him a nice, lovely visit at some point. You could join me for that if you wanted to. I'd actually enjoy your company for that particular visit.
I suppose so.
But after that, I mean, I'm not really sure. I just want a chance to live my own life, I suppose.
I think that's good. I think you've been doing a bit too much living for other people.
Well, I've been doing that for about 20 years.
That's almost half my entire life.
You're still a young spring chicken.
And I will be forevermore. In fact, I can only assume that from now on, I will get younger.
Did you feel that, Sue? Like this morning, you woke up and just felt a little like.
Oh, I didn't feel it.
I don't know. It's like a pep in the step.
When I'm asleep, I am constantly meditating on the true meaning behind magic and everything around it. Unless I'm having horrible, devastating nightmares, which haven't happened recently, and I've been very excited about it. I feel like I've resolved several of my consistent problems. But no, I solved death. I did it. Figured it out. I've been ruminating on it for a long time, but we got there.
Never heard the tale of Darth Plagueis.
This is the real reason that Abinthy wanted to talk to Cather after this. He's like, hey, listen, after
I'm
this,
really sorry about your gods.
Because I'm going to take over the business.
No, I don't want that. I'm just saying that your gods probably aren't going to be pretty pumped about it, that I totally bested them in the whole
Is this-
everyone dies thing.
Is this piracy?
You wouldn't steal a TV.
I think Abinthy, in this instance, I think they'll actually be okay with it.
Well, that's good. I mean, they won't be after I potentially cause them problems in the future.
Well, maybe, but we're talking about right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that you have a bit of a plan going forward.
Do you have a plan going forward?
I have a few things here and there. Well, so recently I spoke to Tarak for the first time, and that was an experience.
I can imagine.
Is he always like that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, the first real conversation Tarak and I had was a very heated argument.
You talk to him, and you say a thing, and you're like, oh yeah, that'll get him. And then he looks at you like you never actually said a thing. And then he says a thing, and you're like, well, I hate that. But I can't exactly say that he's wrong.
Yeah,
and
he's oddly good at that.
Infuriating.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And we spoke for 30 seconds. And I expected him to punch me or something. And then he just said things, and then I felt kind of bad, but somehow resolved.
Yeah, punching, he's a very passive person. Aggression isn't really his thing,
But, I spoke to him, and I talked with Tananoshta today, and Yorwick today, and I don't know, I suppose I had a bit of a realization that I don't know how to go about this. I'm a lot of things, Cather. I'm everything that people say that I am. I'm a tailor. I am
a wizard, a arcanist, and I'm a hypocrite, and a liar and a thief. But I think at the core of who I am, I'm a storyteller. And it is my belief that people are nothing more than the stories that they tell and are told about them. And I've been so wrapped up in a few stories that I have that I feel like I've forgotten all of the other ones. And I've just become those few stories that I happen to be the villain. I think after this, I think I might go a little dark for a while. Clean up some excess stories lying around. And maybe be a bit forgotten for a bit. And then, I mean, I'm never going to stop telling stories or traveling, but I think I'm going to try out a couple of different ones than I have been recently. And then who knows? Maybe I'll give a shot at a teaching job. I've had a couple of College of Lightsbridge on the East Coast. They've reached out to me a couple of times. They say that they have a professor position. I'm teaching String Theory 101, a class based on the book that I wrote. Surely I must be good at that, right?
Possibly, yes, of course.
There's no way that I'm bad at teaching a thing that I wrote.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, Abinthy, magic is not really my thing. So
But you
a lot.
do all the fancy healing stuff.
Well, I mean, that's kind of different.
And magic explodes when you hit something.
Well, see, it's like I think I overheard your conversation with Edward and Leshka a while ago. Like, Edward is like this formerly, like you and Edward, like formerly trained, and like Leshka like knows jazz, whatever that is.
Yeah, you've never heard jazz. I think you'd hate it.
I don't know. But I think I do magic how Leshka does magic, where I just kind of will things to happen. Willpower is kind of my thing, you know, just raw stubbornness.
You know, it's a skill.
Oh, I would definitely agree. It's definitely a skill. It's just not one that I fully understand the interworkings of, you know.
I mean, hey, maybe one thing that you'll do after you're done fixing up a bunch of problems is you'll just register for one or two classes at Lightsbridge.
If they'll accept me.
I mean, you're Cather, just pay him a bunch of gold. We have it. Colleges will do anything for money.
Just be like, hey, if I like do a guest speaker thing at your university, would you like let me take a couple classes? And they'd be like, yes, absolutely.
Maybe you
please."
can apply online. That's a new thing going around across the gem grid. We found a bit of magic here and there.
Maybe. I mean, I'm certainly not opposed to it. Understanding a bit more of how magic works. It's, after all, it is flowing all around us.
Yeah, but to sum up, yes, I think that I trim back on the big dramatic spellcaster. Honestly, I'm planning to start a form of rumor that Abinthy Tripowitz was just a figurehead put there by the Chosen, and he never really existed. It's, you know, because that'll cause trouble for them. And they deserve it, those posh, terrible, clothing dressed people.
That would be greatly amusing, yes, just to see how they handle something like that. Yes, I certainly understand the appeal of maybe taking a couple steps back.
Yeah, and about the Soul Stealer, I'm in a bind because on one hand, right now, I'm still really about that vengeance, but I'm really thinking that I should try to trim back on it, at least after this fight. But on the other hand,
if we don't kill the Soul Stealer, he continues doing Soul Stealer stuff, and that's not vengeance. That's just planning for the future. That's not.
I think the word you're looking for is justice.
I'm not too big on the whole justice thing. It's like you don't start brushing your teeth after you have a cavity.
Well,
You start it before.
I mean,
So that way you don't get the cavity. So let's just brush some teeth a little bit.
If you let him go, at that point it's just neglect, and then you're
Exactly. And that's poor manners.
that
if
is
any.
true. That is very true. Thanks, God.
there's also the whole, not that Abinthy would agree with this, but there's the whole idea of like, if you can help, do you have a moral obligation to help?
No.
Abthy would say no.
Yeah, I knew Abinthy wouldn't agree with you.
Look, if you see someone dying on the street and you help them and then they still die, you are legally liable for their death. Don't do it. This is what Abinthy's saying.
Well,
Unless there's good Samaritan laws in place, which remove that. But it's still a big problem.
Anyway, back to the roleplay. Sorry.
But yeah, I'd be down, perhaps, to do a little bit
maybe it could
little bit
be
of culling the herd.
the
That sounds a
final
lot more evil.
the final frontier, as it were, for us. The final
Yes.
the final
Space.
adventure of Fate's Gambit before
Do you
they.
think we can get? We probably can't get Edward in on this. right?
Ooh, I don't know. Depends on how we
I mean, it could be
frame
fun. Here's what we do. We say,
Edward
"Hey,
and Sam are
Edward.
gonna be busy having like 14 kids.
Hey, Edward.
I don't know about
Here's the
14.
thing. We know that you've been stuck in with the old ball and chain for 5 years. One guy's night, what could go wrong? We take him out on the town, and then bam, suddenly we're
Suddenly,
fighting the Soul
we
Stealer.
just
what can go wrong?
We just happen to, find ourselves
like,
in.
oops,
in
fell
the
into
Citadel.
a portal.
Yes,
What's he going to do? Then we have to do it because he's there.
Uh-huh.
We're like, hey, Edward, nothing's going to happen, but you should probably. Well, he doesn't even need to bring his sword. He can just summon it to his hand from anywhere.
There you go.
So yeah. Hey, wear your armor like good times. If you still fit into it. If not, I can.
You still fit in it. Oh,
I can
I
maybe
mean,
edit
That's
it a
so
little bit.
messed up.
I mean, I don't
bro,
know.
I want to see art of Edward with a dad bod.
I don't know.
I do
So
I
Edward
mean,
at the start of the campaign.
Yes.
Oh no, he did gosh dang plyometrics or whatever.
Pilates, but he was more like
Pilates, they were
bones, But,
Did you have to have a
he'll-
special machine to do Pilates?
No.
I
Pilates
don't
is just aggressive yoga.
Why am
He
I thinking?
fenced. Plus, couldn't we call it Pilates? It was like,
We
Yeah,
have
like
called it
toddlers could do it.
Pilates.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a Pilates machine. Yeah. Anyway,
But yeah, we'll figure something. We'll mark the date.
yeah, we'll send out an invitation. Save the date,
And
and
a little white lie never hurt anyone.
oh, of course not.
I'm so glad that I have corrupted you to this extent.
Well, it's more like I just don't really care anymore.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Anyway, I need to go find someone who can acquire some objects for me
That's very ominous,
for
Aventhy.
plans that I have in the future that are most likely for the benefit of people. I will see you at a later date.
with you
Bye,
guys
Aventhy.
finishing
My
up
chair
that
doesn't go any
conversation,
further.
we're gonna go ahead and hop over to our break. So we'll be back in just like 10 or 15 minutes to keep going on with these last little conversations that they can have before they go save the world. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, and we are back.
Hello, everybody.
Little clap, little handshake. I like it. I like it.
little applause.
So, where we left off, Cather and Abinthy had just finished their conversation. We're gonna pan back over. We'll skip a few hours. We'll say that Edward, you have for the most part, finished up hanging out with Sam for a little bit. There's a few other things that you want to go do, I believe. So we'll start there. Who or do you want to go talk to?
Yeah, Sam and I picked some flowers. We, maybe there's some like makeshift merchants around. I don't know. That have like,
Apathy
traveled
summoned
and-
them. He's like, I
Yeah,
need supplies.
So they're having a night out on the town, quote unquote,
I like it.
or a morning.
Strolling through.
And eventually, Edward and her just like say some pleasant goodbyes, and it's not dramatic. It's just as
you're
if
just going on a
Exactly.
day to the office and then you're coming back. So
nothing special. It's like, okay, well, I gotta go do something. So like, see ya, bye bye.
the hug was just a hair longer than normal,
It was
just for a
It was
second.
yeah. And the tension to make it more than it was so hard to like not. Yeah, but they
Wasn't the
ended
only-
up parting ways.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. They ended up parting ways. Edward would like to go to Tarak because he, I assume, is preparing to go onto his voyage to the Crimson Waste once again.
Tarak is in the on the top of Tarak's tower. There is a warbat roost, and so Tarak has been up there tending to the warbats.
Whoa,
Whoa.
yeah,
Whoa.
that's such a
Whoa.
callback.
Wow.
Edward, hearing that there are warbats, will
Whoa,
assume
Wow.
that Tarak is up doing
Yeah.
warbat stuff.
Oh, there have always been warbats here.
Always, really?
Yeah, like from the start, it was in the plans to have a warbat roost.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
Shame we
Yeah,
didn't
Edward
use
will-
them in the dragon fight.
They flew away.
They
Yeah.
look. It would not have gone well for us. Like it's like, wow,
No.
they never flew, so it's not that big of a
That-
deal.
That's like saying, "Hey, I wish that I had my kite in a dogfight with like freaking I don't even know the planes, whatever the latest and greatest military jet is."
If they had tried to fly away, like if we were beating them, they tried to escape. That's when I would have brought up the warbats.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Warbats are plan B.
It's a shame we all
Yeah.
died.
Bat.
So
And we never know.
Everybody died. Anyway,
So Edward will see Tarak up there, I guess,
Mhm.
tending to the warbats. He'll climb the stairs, go all the way up there. He's never been up there. And Edward will arrive. I'm guessing there's a hatch of sorts that he unhatches.
Yeah.
And he climbs onto the roof. Oh, wow, a new fleet of warbats.
Oh, Edward. Sorry.
Yes. I will
I'm-
most likely kill you, by the way.
Ah, you would try. But I am already dead. How are you, Edward? We haven't actually talked. How have you been? I shouldn't eat food up here, but I'm immune to poison, so.
Yeah, it's a little strange you're eating the bat's food, but I'm
No, I
I
brought my
suppose if you're
own.
immune.
Although the bat
Oh.
food in the orcish camp is often better than what the orcs get.
Is that right?
Yeah, normally just sand rats.
Well, since you ask, I'm doing as well as I could be, I suppose. Tarak, since you mentioned we haven't talked, I actually have some things I'd like to say to you. If you have a moment.
I have nothing but moments.
Of course. Well, I would, if you care to join me, I'd love to go to your secret quarters. I want you to know, without a shadow of a doubt, that what I have to say is true, and
By all
something that I
means.
believe.
You know that
Well-
it wouldn't be necessary, right?
I know, but
I don't think you would ever lie to me. And if you did, it would be for good reason.
well, for the sake of the feeling of it,
I
I'd
know
like
you're
to.
all about the vibe. Yeah.
I am. Plus, you
I
know,
start heading down the stairs.
yeah, it's the wastes and all, and I'm just nostalgic. You know how I get. They like go down the stairs. They enter the room.
Yeah.
Would you like to briefly describe the room again, Aaron?
it's the
After
Scarlet Waste room, right?
chewing-
Yep.
Yeah.
We stand on the top of a sandstone pillar overlooking the sea as it exists in an eternal red dawn. So the entire room is cast in ruby light. You can feel the sand hit your face as the wind blows atop the pillar. It's like hot, but not too hot, because it's still like getting off of night into early morning. And it's very cold in the desert. So it's heating up quick. It's like at 87 or something.
It's not the worst, but not great.
Yeah, it's like you sweat a bit.
It's just good that it's not humid, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it's very dry.
It's a dry heat, yeah. Oh, back at the wastes. I do not miss those mornings when we would, run for 2 hours, however long it was. It felt like 5.
You aren't doing your running in the morning?
I'm doing my running, but not in sand.
Well, that's half the point of the training.
I guess there's not much sand around here.
Well, here's a solution. Just wear weights. Ankle weights.
I'll
wrist
look into
weights.
that.
Yeah, good on us.
I'll look into the weights. Yes. Well, I'm going to say some things that I think you probably already know.
I don't
but
know. I've been gone a little while.
That's true.
I didn't know that you were married. She seemed
Yeah,
lovely,
well,
by the way.
she is.
You've met her before. Did I?
Like super briefly, I think. But
My memory is not all that great.
well, maybe before we leave you can meet her again. But besides the point, I have some things that I feel I need to say to you that I haven't had the chance to, for obvious reasons. I can't begin, Tarak, to describe the kind of grief I felt when you left. It was like a part of myself was cast into a vast, deep, dark ocean, and now by some miracle it's returned back to me. You're here standing when you were gone. And you had taught me so much in the short time we were together. You saw in me what I failed to see in myself, and for that I'm forever grateful. You determined who I became in that way. More like you brought out who I already was. Edward Lul Kulkadar. That's the name you gave me. Edward Dragonflower. With just a touch, it explodes in a powerful fashion. I now know what this means. It's not about beauty, or magic, or power, or the chain reaction. It's about one reaction. A dragonflower, it does exactly what it's meant to do. Exactly when it's meant to do it. According to its own nature. And I'm the same. I've always been this way. I've always reacted. But my fear and my doubt caused me to avoid who I really was and be unsure of what I was capable of. And now I know what I'm capable of. I know that I'm good. And there's nothing for me to prove anymore. I make my own choices. And I react exactly how I must. Exactly when I must. According to my own nature. I am free. And in that way, I am like a dragon flower. Edward Lul Kulkadar.
I'm glad. I have, when I gave the group their names, I was afraid. Because I am not
Well, I had never done it before. But I knew that I had to try. Because you were worthy of it. But I've always held a bit of fear that I had messed up and chosen a wrong name or had thought that it was yours, but I was wrong, or I had just wanted it to be a name that you had. Names are tricky things, and I think that people often have the wrong impression of how it works even after they've been told. Names aren't things that are given. You got it on the nose. Names are uncovered. Your names have always been your own. It's just some people are better at finding them than others. Your first one is most often told to you by the orcs, at least. Most people never find their names. They just run around thinking that whatever calling name they have is the only one that they've got. And it's a sad thing. But if you are saying that you have uncovered what your name means, then I am very glad. And you have done nothing but make me proud.
Thank you. I am proud. As well. I think if it weren't for you, I would have never found myself. And now I know myself.
You know a part of it. I encourage you to keep looking.
What do you mean, a part of it?
Well, I am Tarak of the Shield. But I am also Tarak Cursed Child. I am many things, but the exact number of names depends on what you believe. But the general consensus is that people have 5.
I might have 4 more?
Probably. You may have 6. Perhaps you have
Who's
more.
going to
Perhaps
give
it
me-
is different for elves.
Who's going to give me the names if you're not around?
No one. They aren't meant to be given, Edward. I just told you that.
I must find them myself.
Discover them, uncover them, listen for them, find them, hear them, see them, feel them.
Hmm.
The names are already a part of you.
I guess in that way I've just begun.
Have you ever wondered if orcs stem from drow?
Yes, that is how they say it goes. I'm unsure.
Then where did orcish come from?
It is quite a bit different than Drow.
Yes, would we not simply speak elvish or undercommon?
That is a good point.
It is because when the orcs were created, their souls were laid bare. Orcish is the language of the heart. It's just that most people are too foolish to ever find it.
No wonder why I always struggled with it when I was learning.
That's because you were looking, but you weren't seeing. And you were hearing, but you were not listening.
Well, I promise you that I will listen. I will hear. Starting today, if I haven't already. But I think I have, considering the conversation. It seems like
Yes.
I'm doing quite well.
I think that you are doing splendid. You know, truth be told, there are things that I miss, and I have missed being in the ocean for the past. It felt longer than 3 years. I don't know if time just moves differently under the water or what, but it felt like a very long time. But for the most part, I felt at home in a lot of ways. I was not looked at poorly. They did not question why I was there, who I was. They were simply glad to have hands to help and hands to heal and a body to stand on the line. For the first time, I was looked at by my people, and I was a comrade. I was important. But there were things that I did miss. I missed... there are no warbats. They would not fly well underwater. I missed pancakes. And I missed braiding. I had to learn how to braid my own hair, but I only have so much hair, and my hair doesn't grow when you're dead. You only have what you have. So make sure that if you die, you have a full head of hair. Because you can't get it back if you decide to shave and then you die.
Is that right?
Yep. But you can, if you have a feeling frisky, you can cut it off, but then it'll be gone forever. I've missed talking to people in common. Normally we just yell and scream. And most of all, I missed Fate's Gambit. You were the first people who were kind to me. That are still alive, at least. And I missed that a lot. And I was afraid that because I was gone, you two would be soon to follow. And so I'm glad that, for the most part, things have gone well. And I want you to know that not for 1 second have I ever regretted what I've done. And if I were given the choice 1,000 times, I would make the exact same one. Because I am Tarak of the Shield. So don't hold yourself accountable. The only part that I'm disappointed in you is that you grieved at all. But that being said, I am glad that you did, because if that was the emotion that you felt, it would have been wrong to not feel it, to not express it, to run from it.
Tarak, I always knew, deep down, that you did exactly what you were meant to do. And that made it bearable, as painful as it was. And, Tarak, the kindness that we offered you, albeit that it should have been more, it's the least I could have given to the one who saved me from my past life. I don't feel as if there's much more I have to say. I just need you to know. I need you to hear that I am in your debt. Even if you don't believe I am, I will forever be Edward Lualkul Kadar. And that name was made possible by you. As I walk the material plane, so do you. So does your legacy. As long as I am alive, as long as the world is affected by me, you did it. The world is in your debt. I believe you can fight your extraplanar war, or whatever it is, knowing that. And it's good to hear that you found peace with it, is all.
Well, I am in war, so I don't know if I can say that it's terribly peaceful.
Oh.
And you should know that we will see each other again, even if I fade into nothingness after this. You're an orc, so you're headed to the same place I am.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. Nothing you can
And
do
you
about
will
it.
be
Okay.
greeted with cheers upon your arrival, as we fight forevermore until eventually the dead overcome us and spill into the mortal plane. And then we shall fight one final battle, and we shall lose. And then
Oh.
the world shall end.
Okay.
And
Well,
okay.
until then, I'll enjoy my life, I guess.
Please do.
Don't worry, Edward. I'll pull some strings for you.
That'd be awesome. Thanks, homie.
Well, I mean,
like,
Kath is
I'd
headed
love
there
to see
too.
Tarak again.
Kath is headed there too, so
Yeah,
You're
I
all
guess.
orcs. You all signed on the dotted line.
yep. I'm sorry you didn't read the contract. It's not my fault you couldn't read Orcish.
Well, I
But,
suppose it's time you get on your journey and I take up my weapon and
Yes,
we end this.
I do have a bit of talking that I'll have to do with some orcs. I'll have to get them in line. A little bit of orcish diplomacy.
You
But
can tell he's so excited for that.
I'm a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It's been a while since I've thrown some dukes at people.
It might be nice again. You know, speaking of names, I never did come up with a name for my sword.
Oh, thank goodness you've reminded me. Because I did.
What?
But of course, did you
Wait.
not remember yesterday when you brought, I was like, does it have a name? And you were like, no. And I was like, well, that's
Oh,
stupid.
right.
Well, that's
Yes.
stupid.
Well, I felt it was my responsibility, but I got nothing.
Oh, you can, okay, all right, you can search for your own name, but I think it's a little bit too soon to think that you could be finding
Oh.
other people's names.
Okay,
Like, all
my
right, you're
bad.
still pretty young here, bucko.
Okay, Master Namer, what do you have for me?
Natana,
Natana?
yes. It means night's end.
Ooh.
Edward's holding the sword, looking at it.
It is a
Night's
grey
end.
morning. Clouded. The sun does not shine, but it is morning all the same.
Start of a new day?
Well,
Edward's,
if
like,
the night is
questioning.
over, that would assume that a day has begun.
And it is sort of gray cloud looking. In hue.
All right, let's not look too deep into it. The sword has a name. It's what its name is.
It's a good name.
Maybe one day you'll get good enough that you can see it yourself. And who knows, maybe you'll find it another name.
I'll work on that. Natana. No, it fits. He
You stabbed it.
sheathes it again.
He just commits seppuku.
You have to bloodlet the blade.
Yeah. It
How
has
about
been
one
nice to talk
last-
to you again.
How about one last go then? With my new named sword, and Edward gets in a fighting position.
I
They
won't
do
need
get up.
weapons for this.
Nice.
I just throw Edward off the tower.
I love it. I love it. With all that, let's hop over. Let's see. It's hard because Cather and Avanthy just talked to each other, but I guess technically, it was Avanthy. I don't know. Who wants to go next?
Look,
I mean, Abinthy's
We all got things to do.
caught up. We're
Avanthy's
set.
good.
We're,
Avanthy's
I'm out of people to talk to.
Sure,
Everyone
I'll
else-
jump
put
in
it-
and say.
I'll put it in
and-
Cather's
and-
hands.
yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
if I'm
yeah, hold
involved,
on,
that's
hold on.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
We're chilling.
So,
You can pick him up once I throw him off this tower.
Well,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
well, actually, so the
You
funny
can
thing
bury
is,
Alan it over there and catch him.
during this conversation, for the beginning portion of the conversation, Cather has been looking for Edward, and so
That's
I
awkward.
like to imagine that eventually he found where Tarak and Edward were talking, and he's just been kind of just sitting, just off in the wings, just kind of listening.
Well, the stairs, they wrap up the tower and you go, so you've just been sitting like 6 steps down where they just like, they can't see you and you're just like listening.
It's like
Yeah.
when you wake up as a kid and your parents are watching TV downstairs, but you don't want them to know that you're awake, so you just sit quietly on the stairs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did
exactly.
that a lot as a kid.
Yeah,
Did you
absolutely.
really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and he just kind of sits there for a while and just kind of smiles to himself, throughout the conversation, just himself just thinking about the different things that the two of them are talking about. And eventually we'll leave and give them some privacy and catch up with Edward after he's finished.
Yeah, you hear them start to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I
he's,
thought it was
Alright.
gonna
and he's just like, oh,
Cather's
okay.
like, or Track is yelling like death threats in Orcish, and
Right.
Edward is just squealing like occasionally.
supper!
He's like,
And so,
Edward is fighting for his life. and-
just like screaming random things. So,
this
like,
is an
both-
anti-magic field.
eventually,
Free
and as that happens, Cather will make his way back down and actually accidentally run into Leshka.
Oh, let's go! A bit of Cather on Leshka action.
and
Drew's like, I haven't talked yet, so I'm gonna talk with myself.
Oh, dude,
like
trust me, I know the feel.
and
A bit of a palate cleanser before Edward jumps back into the fray.
right, exactly, yeah.
They're
And-
gonna talk to each other, and then Edward's just gonna land next to them.
In the middle of them. Yeah.
yeah. So as Cather kind of runs into Leshka, Leshka will say, "Oh, Cather, it's great to see you. Do you know where Drac is? I've been looking all over for him." Oh, well, yeah, he's kind of up in his tower right now. He's talking to Edward. That got kind of personal, and then it kind of got weird because they started to fight each other. I'm not sure
You just
why.
say,
Rasubat Burukug Budara Babat Gruyuk.
I think I actually understood
Like
some of that.
tortured screams.
Right. Well then, I mean, do you know when they're gonna be done? I figured it's about time that Track and I left. If I'm gonna be help taking him to the wastes, that way he can go gather some of the orcs. It'd probably be good for us to leave soon, since it's already past midday at this point. Oh yes, I suppose you're correct. I mean, we all should be leaving here soon too. I'm not quite sure what happened to Abinthy. I think he went down to his workshop or something. Probably he's always working on something, I suppose.
Oh, he's talking to the merchants for sure.
But I imagine we should probably leave here soon as well. After all, yeah, we are running out of time at this point. Yes, it is quite the journey that you guys have all been on. Quite remarkable that you've made it this far. Well, yes, we are quite amazing, aren't we? But it is strange to think of the journey coming to an end. Or at least us arriving to perhaps a new beginning. Maybe that's a better way of looking at it. Oh, yes. Well, you see, in my days, I'm a little older, on the older side, just. And for my adventures, I've seen quite a few things happen, and I would agree, an end of a journey is just the beginning of the new one. Yes, well, you are wise for your years, even though I am much older than you.
Oh, now he's
I'm
complimenting
loving
himself,
this.
guys.
I would listen to a whole 4-hour podcast of this, and I'm not even kidding. This is awesome.
And
You
then
can cue Edward falling from
I was
the
going to
sky
say,
whenever
about
you-
Yeah.
now is when we hear...
You hear
Mabaj Bodo Barmaruk.
And then he's like casts Featherfall. He just like lands on his back.
I like to imagine it's just he lands next to like just where there's a hole in the keep. So Cather and Leshka just both just look at Edward. Just
My
as
favorite
he
thing about it
lands.
is he slow falls. It's not like Featherfall just like negates damage. It literally just like slows you down.
But he's
And so
Yeah,
he's
he
just like
just lands on his back.
He's just like slowly falling down and just like comes to a gentle rest laying on his back in this hole.
Edward sees Trax starting to like mount the small wall of the
Yeah,
tower,
behind
ready to
bolts.
like elbow
Keep his
drive
elbow
Edward.
from the
And
top rope.
Edward's just like, no, you won. I lost.
You hear him say,
Narmat
Don't jump-
Korishi. Do
Don't
not die
do
in
it.
bed, Edward. Do not
No,
die in bed.
For the love of the gods, don't jump, Track. Yeah.
At this point, Leshka will pop his head out and kind of like look up at Tarak as he's about to jump down out of the tower. Tarak, are you about ready to leave? I probably it would be good for us to set off here soon. Much
He's
to
like-
do and all that.
I'll be down in a minute. Oh,
He'll
Edward,
no, this is what he do.
Yeah, do
he'll
your
go,
thing.
He'll like back off, and then you can't see it, but he thinks to himself, he's like, "Oh yeah," and then he will just sprint and vault over the edge,
yes.
and just like full like just heading straight towards Edward, but he will whistle, and immediately behind him, a war bat will launch out of the window and just plummet straight down, and he will land. He'll grab the bat, and then right before it hits you, just like through the camp.
Cather, I really thought I might die again.
Do you really think that
He's
little
so-
of Tarak?
I didn't know Tarak could get much stronger, but he is.
I mean, have you seen the? He grew like
so
a whole
much
foot.
different. I know, and he's probably weighs another 100 pounds if I were to guess.
Probably.
Everything I
I mean-
threw at him,
I mean, his traps are bigger than mine.
Not in definition, but just in pure size.
Yeah.
It's the difference between a bodybuilder and a strongman.
Wait, it's like my bicep is larger than Drew's, but that's also just because I'm bigger than Drew is.
Yeah.
It's also because I'm jacked, but that's besides the point.
I mean, yes, you are jacked.
just give me a few moments to
Right.
recover.
Okay. Well, Leshka, good luck on your journeys. I think, from what I understand, Abinthy is pulling some strings to get the Drow involved in helping with one of the fights. And then the only other ones would be the ones that the church is helping take care of, and then of course ourselves, and then you interact with the orcs, I suppose. So, good luck.
I fly up next to them. I drift the bat in. As the bat drifts in, I just step off the bat in perfect time with it, like when you like
Edward's
drift a car
standing
and then
now.
open a door and then just step out in perfect time.
Do it.
I'll walk up and I'll go. So, we going? By the way, good fight. You put up a good effort.
Thank you.
It
That
good-
was
good.
everything I had.
It was. I mean, probably I mean, there wasn't any magic. You have magic. Magic would have changed things, I'm sure. You had me on the
probably.
ropes.
Oh, thank you.
I like
Frank,
almost
thank you.
started sweating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That-
You almost
That's
bled
tough,
too.
that's- Yep.
Meanwhile, Edward's just like bloody.
There's like so much blood. Most of his
There's
blood
so
is
much
outside of his
blood.
body right here.
Ugh.
Yeah,
He goes,
Edward's about to faint from blood loss.
Yes. Leshka, I am ready whenever you are. Where's didn't you have the Skessa that traveled with you?
Are you talking about Abinthy?
No. Didn't we meet you? Is she coming along?
Are you talking about
Lada?
Tall
No. What's the name for it in your foolish common tongue? The trickster,
Blix?
Mary?
yes. Who said that? God with the Blix.
It
But
was-
that's the name that
Oh.
it was.
You're
Oh,
Blix.
yes.
Right.
Blix, we haven't seen. Well, have you seen Blix, Leshko? Wait,
unfortunately.
hold on. Blix, I don't remember. Blix
has
died?
passed.
Oh,
What?
that is such
wait,
a
how did
terrible
that
fate
happen?
for someone
But
who
those-
never truly knew who they were.
Yes, a part of her
Oh.
journey led her into some danger that was unexpected, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to hear that. We must. We can talk more of it as we go. But we should get going.
Yes, we should. I suppose. Do you have a good place to start? I can. I mean,
I mean, let's just go back to the temple. Let's just start there.
All right, that's not a bad idea.
And then I should be able to catch a couple patrols. They'll lead us to the larger groups, and then I'll deal with them when we get there.
Perfect. Yes, that's a great plan. All right, everyone. Well, good luck on all of your missions. I pray that we all will be successful in our endeavors. Good luck. And
Goodbye, Tarak.
he will put a light hand on Tarek's massive shoulder, just reaching
I
up.
shall see you at the end of the world.
Yes, goodbye, Track. You will die before I do.
And
I already have.
from his pouch, Leshka will pull out a bottle of sand and uncork
Just
it.
start throwing it everywhere.
He-
Sand in my eyes.
He'll
It's like
uncork it.
the sumo ring salt throws.
hell?
And just he'll just uncork it and just kind of release it up above Leshka and Tarak, and as it kind of descends on them, the two of them just disappear in the sand.
Nice. I love it.
Wow.
You didn't even need to do that.
before.
That was just for show.
Grant,
They actually just teleported.
Well, the sand
behind a tree.
is sand that Leshka
Sneak
collected
off.
from the temple.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
Grant, to remind you,
Yeah, how did Blix die again? What the heck? I feel like I just learned that for the first time.
Renaya's grandfather killed her.
Because she was investigating her family.
Oh,
And then,
yeah. And then they were like, ha, gotcha. Dead. She died.
Exactly.
Also, I want you to
GG.
know that the only reason I asked about that is because I've had orcish lore about changelings since Blix has existed, and it's never come up.
oof.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry. It'll probably never come up again.
You're
Except for in table
absolutely
scraps.
correct.
This
Check
Thursday.
Table
it out
scraps.
Thursday at somewhere between 1:30 to 3:30 start time. Be in our Discord to learn the exact moment.
Anyway, as Leshka and Trek disappear and leave, Cather will look at Edward and kind of like help brush away some of the blood out of his face and forehead.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Edward heals
he'll
himself
get
a
a
bit.
towel. Yeah. And,
Oh,
are you
it was
right?
nice,
That was quite the
honestly.
fall.
Oh, yeah. I was playing it up a bit. I mean, I think it made Track kind of happy to hurt me again.
Right. Well, it was great to see Trek again.
You're telling me.
Yes, I only wish that he was around permanently, but it seems that he is satisfied with all that he was able to do. So,
You know, he saved the world once. What's keeping him from doing it again? I've been meaning to ask you, Mr. What do the people call you? They call you a lot of things, but
which
I've
people are you
heard-
referring to?
just
You know, the
common
people.
folk. People. I've heard rumors in Athala. I've heard Champion of Fate. I've heard
Yeah.
The Chosen One.
Ooh,
That's a bit dramatic
That feels
to
a little.
me.
Yeah, that feels a little too.
Mine's the Undying. That's my favorite. Cather the
The
Undying.
Undying. I've also heard the Silver Stag, which just doesn't sound as good, but it is on brand.
Well, I mean, the silver. Yeah.
The Masked.
I
That's
mean,
pretty cool.
yes, the mask. Although the mask one, that's a little outdated at this point since I don't have the mask anymore.
Branding's not there anymore.
But
was
since
ashamed of
you're
your
still marching around and we're all still alive, and this has been what I would presume your destiny to some degree is,
I'd agree.
what do you think are odds as, you know, the Destiny one? The one chosen by the death gods themselves to carry this task out.
How
What do you
likely do I
think?
think it is that we succeed?
Yeah, I'm really quite interested in
Well,
your assessment of all of it.
I guess. Do you mean in what are our odds in stopping Clovar?
Yeah, stopping him, having some semblance of a normal life after
And does that include
surviving.
preventing any of the truths from being released?
I mean, that'd be preferable, but for now, let's just stick to Clovar.
All right. Well, Clovar is the first being that the Mother Goddess Laudentari ever made, and is likely some level of demigod status, if not maybe more than that. And he is a being that even the gods themselves fear to some degree because of the power that he holds and the potential that he has in releasing the six truths. And we are 4 mortal beings who have already died several times in our journeys and have only been here because of the assistance of beings like the gods. That being said, I guess I don't know. I'd like to think that we have a pretty good shot, but I've also never encountered a man quite like Clovar. His presence alone is uncanny. It's remarkable the amount of fear and respect that he holds just by standing close to someone. And only somebody very powerful could invoke such fear and respect. But I think we've gotten this far because we've all worked together. Because we've been a team. And the times that we have failed and have sometimes been fatally wounded, it was because we weren't performing our best, either individually or as a team. And I think Clovar will require us to push past some of our limits as to what we can do. And I think...
Do you think the gods, or destiny, or our purposes intertwining, or whatever it might be, do you think that it's inevitable? Maybe? That we make it? I've had a hard time understanding exactly how you see things. And I guess I'm just curious what you think now. Is it possible that all of this was just to fail? What do you think, really? I want to know what you think.
I think that a thread of fate has been intertwined around all of us since all 6 of us first met in that city. I mean, even now I can't help but think back to the first time that I met Havel, and the time that I met Malor, even though don't really remember it very well, obviously. But it's strange, it's like an echo still exists of that time. Especially the time that we were all together. Like all of it did mean something. It was important. And as much as it hurt when Havel was lost at sea, who knows what happened to him, I still pray that perhaps that devil of a man is somewhere in the Feywild causing a ruckus.
He has always managed to get on the luckier side of things, which I've never understood.
It seems appropriate for him. And obviously, Malora, we worked very hard to bring back, and I hope she's doing well, and perhaps even she will have perhaps both of them still yet will have a helping hand in this final battle, even if it's not one side by side with us. I still feel that all of us, all 6 of us, and now including all 8 of us with Kiamora and Abinthy, there's certainly a thread of fate that has brought us all together to be together, working together, this climax. And I think if anyone were to stop Clovar, it would be Fate's Gambit. All of us working together. doing our part, even if we're many miles apart. All of us working together is how we defeat Clovar. And as for the four of us who will be face to face with him, yes, I certainly think we can beat him.
That's good to hear. You know, Cather, I don't know if you could call it destiny or purpose or if it's exactly what I understand it to be, but Abinthy would talk so much about insane things. Things that made no sense. Things that on paper were strictly against the laws that we understood. But what he's shown me, what he's proven to me, is that the laws can be broken. The rules aren't what we see them to be. He seems to break rules every time he does magics. It's infuriating.
It does.
And I wish I could understand the way he does.
It does seem that he operates on his own threshold.
And you know what that showed me? It showed me that there's more to learn. Or unlearn. Might be a better word. We haven't talked much about it. But his complex feelings and descriptions of the weave, they're real. And I know you've seen it, as I have. This might be hard to understand, but we were quite literally in the arcane landscape of Leshka's mind. I know that sounds
that's
a little
when
bizarre.
when Leshka was being hunted by the dragons, right? And we were in the cave.
Yes. And I didn't. I heard. I saw things that I can't describe. It shook me to my core. It went against every single thing that I understood to be true. And in that moment, I saw things differently. And for some time, I missed that. I grieved it. I didn't know how to get it back, how to see things the way I did that night. But through listening and, well, through Lonantari's guidance, Cather, I can now hear. It's not like I can do it on command, but the thing that Lonantari gave me, it's teaching me as I use it. And use isn't even the right word. It's not that I control it, it's that I agree with it. I allow it. It's hard to describe.
But it seems natural.
Yes. And Cather, what you just said is exactly why Clovar cannot win. I believe this. Clovar, he uses control. He works at odds with the things around him. But we use harmony. We harmonize with what exists. We use the way things ought to go. And that is a power that's far greater than control. Control works at odds with everything. Harmony works with it. One of these things is going to succeed. And I think it's fair to determine that, well, we're on the right side of things. And I'm learning more as I go, Cather. And I've written them down, because I don't want to forget, and he kind of takes out a little piece of paper that he's written like 3 lines on.
Is that your third journal?
This is more like a reminder of sorts, I guess. I'm trying
Like a
to
grocery list.
yeah, a little bit. A grocery list of the mind. It's like it's not easy for me to think like this. I'm trying to figure it out. It's a little embarrassing. I'm trying to listen. And here's what I think I've learned. 1, the self isn't something that you create. It's discovered. 2, love is not manifested. It's followed. And 3, destiny is not final. It's alive within you. And to learn these things, Cather, is to listen. My whole life, I have been trying to listen, but I never knew how. And now that I can hear, thanks to my teachers, Havel, Melora, Abinthy, Cather, Tarak, thanks to them, I've begun to hear. I've begun to finally listen and understand. Control leads to arrogance, and it's spurred on by fear. The fear of loss, I know it well. I know what Clovar is worried about. But harmony, it leads to acceptance. It's encouraged by hope, which is greater than fear. Something that I've had to learn. Something that's taken me far too long to finally realize. And Cather, that is why Clovar cannot win. He controls. We harmonize.
You've come a long way, Edward. I think the
It's not
farthest
all
of
my
all of
doing.
us. I still remember that first day that we were all together. And, well, I think I was a little softer on you than the others, but you were quite annoying.
I know.
And
I look back at those days in embarrassment, honestly. I was
but
so naive.
despite that, Edward, I'm thankful. Thankful that you have been here with me all this time. And thankful even for back then, that young naive man. Because in all reality, you are the reason Fate's Gambit matters.
You can't say that.
No, but Edward, we have fought for the people of this world and this land, people of Hoclaron, of Athala. But Edward, you are those people. You are the reason that you are the embodiment of what we're fighting for, of what we're fighting to protect, what we're fighting to be and to preserve. I am a soldier. I've always been a soldier. And that is ingrained into my soul. But a soldier is not a civilian. A soldier watches from the outside, humble and satisfied, but knowing that even though he cannot be a part of the dance, he can still protect it. But you, Edward, you are part of that dance. You always have been. And I am honored to be at the end of all things here with you Edward. We all have
Thank
our
you.
part to play in this. And I think what you say resonates with me. I've done very little living of my own. But living in harmony with what's around you, that is the key.
And Cather, you think so highly of me. It means so much. But I need you to also know that when I had no faith, you were my faith. When I had no hope, you were that hope. And when the light was fading, when I could only feel and see darkness, and I could not hear, you were the flickering light, the safe aura. You allowed me to see. Instead of stumble around blind.
Thank you, Edward.
So I thank you for that. Neither of us, maybe, could have been here without the other. So I suppose we should enjoy one last meal. Or something. I don't know. What do people do? You're a soldier.
Cather just pulls Edward into a tight hug.
Yeah, Edward definitely returns the hug. Holds you tightly.
When this is all over, we can live properly, perhaps. No more.
Yes, I can have you over to the estate or something.
We can maybe have a proper celebration of your wedding.
I have some wine that has been aging for like 80 years, and I've waited to open it, and it would be the perfect time.
Well, let me tell you, Edward. As much as I appreciate your vineyards, Rivaluna has some very well-aged
Oh, I
wine.
know it's fine, but don't give me that. I mean, you know that's not entirely true.
Elves live a lot longer than humans, Edward.
Well, maybe I haven't tried the good stuff, so maybe I need to make my way to Rivaluna as well.
I'll take you to one of the good spots.
It's a good idea.
Listen,
No,
but human aged wine is more poetic. That lasts generations. That's a grandfather
Yeah.
passing down his dream to his grandchildren. Elvish
Cather
wine, that's just
probably
some
bottled
guy
his
who
wine.
let something like go get cooking in the back of his house for like 600
Yeah, he
years,
was like,
and then was like,
"I'll
"Oh
make
yeah, I
some
guess it's
wine,"
wine
and then
now."
he like forgot about it.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
like he's like middle-aged up, and he's like cleaning out the basement. He's like, "Oh, wine that's been aged for 400 years."
Oh, I am a genius. I am so tasteful. Yeah, exactly.
Edward's body language suggests that he's like preparing to leave, and Edward just like puts his hand on Cather's shoulder, looks him in the eyes, and says, "I suggest you go pray."
I
And he just
probably
nods.
will do that. Thank you, Edward.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna need it, I think. I'll see you later.
Yes. I imagine. I mean, DM. It's like what time is it by this point, DM?
Oh, by this time it's probably getting to be early afternoon.
Okay.
We're leaving this day, right?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Probably reconvene in maybe an hour or so. And
I'll see you then. I have one
make
last
final
thing I
preparations,
need to
yes.
do.
Yes. I probably do as well. And they will go their separate ways.
Edward, you had one last thing you needed to do?
I do. Just real quick, does anybody else have anything?
Just Cather's one last thing, I think.
Okay.
I've got one really, really fast thing.
Okay, let's do that real quick.
That's
Yeah, let them
Abenthy.
kind of do
So
their
you
thing
guys,
so I can-
split up, and Cather, you're walking to wherever you're going,
Uh-huh.
and you overhear Apathy talking to some random merchants, and he's like, I need the supplies as soon as you can, damn it, and don't forget the scrolls. Get on that. I need those. And then he turns and he sees you and he's like, Cather, I'm an idiot. I need to borrow your wallet.
Okay.
Yes, the pyramid. Give me the pyramid.
Right. He'll produce the pyramid.
Great. And then he'll teleport away. Apathy is going to
This is what
plane shift to the
just
chosen
Sigil. He's
establishment.
gone. He took your money and he's
No.
out of here.
No.
Well, luckily he didn't take all of my money because a lot of it's also in the bag of holding.
Yeah, but he
yeah.
took like the majority of your savings.
But I'll take the pyramid and I'm going to teleport to like all the places where there's bunches of troops, but we had trouble moving them.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just going to be like, everyone in the pyramid.
I mean,
Everyone
I'm
get
not
in
gonna.
there.
I did think about that to get a crew set up for the Dead King's horde.
A crew, dog. We have like a small nation-sized space in this pyramid.
Let's go.
We can just drop off battalions with this sucker. Just pow, pow. Just like
I mean,
700 soldiers just
You're-
onto the
That's actually a
battlefield.
not
good idea.
wrong. That is 100% accurate.
Yeah, so I'll spend like 45 minutes getting a bunch of people in the pyramid and then teleporting to the various locations that we like know that we need soldiers. So I'll set up the battlefields that way they can start the siege of Wisteria Vale before we get there,
Mhm.
because that's the one that they're going to have the most amount of people defending. So I'm gonna get the army on that real quick, and then I'll teleport back. So you've got a bit of time.
Absolutely. Very nice.
That's a great idea.
As soon as Apathy leaves with my wallet, apparently, my wallet,
Yeah, your
Uh,
mystical spectral wallet.
Cather's just like, I'm sure it's fine.
He's gonna come back. I'm sure.
He's gonna come back, right? He's
He's
not
gonna
just
come
gonna
back.
leave us, right? Right?
Again?
He's like looking at the merchants who are just like, I don't know the guy.
They're like, I don't even know.
They're
who
like,
that guy
he's your
was.
comrade. You don't
They
know? Come on.
He kidnapped us. We weren't here to begin with. We don't even know where we
It's like-
are.
yeah, Catherine just like looks at the merchants and for the first time realizes, hold on, who the heck are you guys? Get out of here!
We were told there was going to be free food, so we just came. Like, we don't really know why we're here.
Like, we're gonna do what he asked us because he's paying, but like, it was pretty rude of him.
But then Cather will kind of go to the rubble of his tower.
Huh?
Trouble moment.
So destroyed.
Yeah,
It's just a pile of rocks.
yeah, and he'll just
Please
kind
tell
of
me he starts like
And a
kneeling
single
and
door.
it starts raining and like the lighting gets all dramatic.
that's up to the DM. He'll poke around the rubble a little bit, but I mean everything is destroyed and gone, and plus he didn't have much there anyway. And so after a little while, he'll just kind of walk around and just kind of sit and kind of like lean just against one of the walls of the keep and just look out over the cliff and the ocean, and is just kind of just in his hand, just kind of playing with the carving, the lantern carving attached to his sword, the hilt of his sword, and just kind of rolling it back and forth across his the side of his finger with his thumb, and just kind of thinking to himself and just continuing to reminisce and kind of about the conversation he just had with Edward, and just thinking back to this whole journey that he's been on, and the emotions, even if some of the memories have been lost or were taken, the emotions, the feelings are all still there, and just this understanding and this kind of weight of, this bond that he has with all these people, even if they're gone or even if they're far away or in unknown lands, the bond is still there, the journey has still happened, and for the rest of his life he'll be kind of cherishing this adventure that he's been on, even with the ups and even with the downs. And finally just thinking about going to Wisteria Vale and what needs to still be done, and thinking about Atracils and thinking about, you know, how long they've been separated and how long she's been imprisoned. And just this tiny momentary seed of doubt that creeps in before he tries to push it away, of just hoping that she is still the person that he thinks she is. And that she is still okay. And that when it's all said and done, they can still be together. And just thinking about what Abinthy mentioned of looking to the future and wondering how much of a future he even has. And hoping that he will still get to live out the rest of his life, still performing the duties that he has, but getting to be himself again. And just kind of sits there for a while before eventually regrouping with the others.
By this time, Abinthy's back, and he'll toss through the pyramid. He's like, I bet you thought that I abandoned you again, but let it be known that every time I've abandoned you beforehand was not up to me. I had forgotten who I was.
So you mean the one time that you abandoned us in Pandemonium?
Yep.
Right.
Super sorry about that still. Feel kind of bad about it, but, you know, I'm trying to recover really who I am at the core of my being, like we talked about. So kind of trying to...
Feels like there's quite a bit of that kind of going around, you know?
Yeah.
Decent amount of soul searching.
People do a lot of thinking when they're on the verge of death.
Yes.
It's a strange conundrum. I, of course, having conquered death, will probably never have that happen again. But here you go. Here's your pyramid.
Thank you. And
Here you go.
I suppose that means in 1,000 years, the two of us can still share a cup of tea at some point.
You're absolutely correct. I have a feeling I will probably somehow manage to outlive you, and I don't think you can die either. But I'm confident in it.
Well,
So,
It's not so much that he can't die, it's just that he keeps getting like spit back onto the material plane.
yeah, every single time some trouble starts up, and you show up
well,
on the material plane,
so-
I'll be
It's like the
there.
nine hells are just like repulsed, like they keep just throwing him up. They're just like repulsed by Cather.
Yeah,
He's like,
well,
I mean, that's
it's-
going to be a problem when you're at my
he-
wedding.
He has the respawn hack activated.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
after 10 seconds.
like
you know,
Brooks in One Piece. He's got the revive fruit.
Yeah.
The recall potion in Minecraft.
That's right. So
It's in mods. It's not in the
I
base
thought, well,
game.
see, I thought you were mixing up like Terraria
no
with that because
conversation needs to be with Edward, correct?
Yeah, Edward's got one more thing to do.
one more.
Which-
He
Yep.
does. So in my mind's eye,
In your mind's eye.
Nefendil is probably staying in her room still, since the keep is like half destroyed, but my side is fine.
She honestly probably went home.
What do we mean by home? Because I'd like
Back
to talk
to-
to her.
Athala.
Okay, for the sake, I could visit her or something. I just gotta talk to my mama.
You can go to Athala. It's really easy for you
Yes.
to go to Athala. You have a
Okay,
teleportation
awesome.
circle that puts you like 4 blocks away from your house.
That's exactly what I do.
Great.
Yeah. So Edward will do that, go on his own, and
As
teleport to Athala.
you go to the teleportation circle, you arrive in Athala. You see the city's pretty busy actually. There's a lot of soldiers, lots of armor. They're armamenting the city, and so they're arming the citizens, whole 9 yards, doing what they need to do. But it's funny because you can't help but think back as you approach your house and you have all these soldiers around you. You can't help but think back to when you had to escape your own house with Havel, and he was in the middle of flirting with your mom.
Mm-hmm. Good old
And all that
times.
type of
Edward
stuff.
laughs at it now. He thinks it's so ridiculous.
You're going to walk up and you're going to see Havel sitting in your living room.
I would.
Oh,
I don't even know what I would do.
Edward,
Oh my gosh.
bet you thought I was dead.
Yeah,
So
your
this is
mom just,
awkward.
I've been living in your house because no one's been here, but then your mom showed up and we really hit it off.
That's so messed up.
Anyway, you go to the mansion. you
Yeah,
open
Edward will
doors.
kind of hurry. Also, I'll point out that like Edward has the estate itself isn't actually finished. That was like one of the last things Edward was getting to, and like the estate itself especially is a little bit in disarray. It's not quite like nice.
Yeah,
Still plastic on the
the-
furniture.
the basement
Sure.
isn't finished yet, you know.
It's a little home alone parts of it. Like there are parts of the estate that are like still like broken and like not fixed and stuff like that. But there are some parts that are fine. And so just as pretext, because that's important. So Edward finds his mother. He walks up to the estate. And he kind of walks through and he knows where she would likely be staying.
Mhm.
And outside the door, he starts humming a tune that she used to hum to him.
Mm-hmm.
It goes something like this, I guess. Something like that, you know.
I wish that I
And-
knew what you were gonna hum, so I could like start joining you, because she will do that as well. As you begin humming it, she will start humming and join in with you as you approach her.
Hello, mother.
It's been a long time since I sang that for you.
It has. I didn't want to startle you. I had to make sure you knew it was me, and not someone who walked in through of the, ajar walls.
Not some horns, tiefling man who's
Some
oddly
pretty
handsome.
tiefling
and-
with no
Devilishly
name.
Yeah,
handsome.
exactly.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just a pretty tiefling.
quite a suave debonair.
That's a throwback.
There you go.
Mother, it's nice to see that you've, started to stay here. I'm sorry it's not finished.
Well, it was more done than where I was staying before, so
Well, that's a good
I figured
point.
that was better.
You know,
Plus, this place doesn't have dragons attacking it. That was
that's true.
Not
I'm so
like-
sorry. We didn't know. I would have done something. I would have
That's
told
okay.
you.
it's the nature of having my son be who he is.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's going to be done soon. The dragons and whatnot. But
Well, the dragons.
it's
are-
fitting that you're here because I have something. I have something to ask you. I've spoken with Sam, and this might come as a surprise to you because it wasn't what we were originally thinking. But I think we would like to live here at the estate. I
Okay.
think we'd like to finish it finally, and well, after we defeat Clovar, I was wondering if you could stay with us here.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's your house, and so I'm happy to stay here if you'd like me to be. Otherwise, if you two want your own space,
No,
it's
I-
important for a young couple
I
to
want you to
have
be here.
time. Especially,
It's
I mean,
not that.
you guys
it's-
are gonna have like 14 kids, so like
I
know.
don't know. That's a bit
You know.
of it. That's a lot to ask. I need to talk with her
Maybe
about
just,
it.
Like really insulate the
We
walls.
haven't. Okay. Well, we'll get to that. And, anyways, you're right. This is.
If you want me to stay
This
here,
is-
I would love to stay with you.
It's good to hear. It's funny. I haven't really. I never really expected to think I'd live here again. To be honest, I never really felt like it was mine. I'm not who I was when I lived here, and well, it wasn't ever. It wasn't. I don't know how to say it. I guess I guess what I'm trying to say is I owe Newgate a lot. I owe Dad a lot. I mean, he shaped who I am. He is the reason I have been able to do what I can do. But also, I think he owes me. I think he owes me a lot. I am Edward Nibley Fellows, son of Newgate Fellows, the son of Nibley Fellows. And at this point, my name has become far greater than theirs ever was. I would like to return and claim my inheritance, because Newgate Fellows forfeited it. I want you and I to stay here together and for the first time, make it our home.
Okay. You know, you could go talk to him.
I don't know.
Obviously, I mean, it's entirely up to you, but like, it seems like you have some stuff that you might want to get off your chest, you know? So if you want to talk to him, you're welcome to do it. I'm not going to force you or anything like that. You're a grown man. But as to what you're saying, this house is yours to do with what you want and to build the family that you want. I am happy to help and to be here as you do that.
Thank you.
I am curious as to what's going to happen to the keep, though. Are you guys going to rebuild it? Or is it just going to become some dungeon for future adventurers to explore?
The home
That's
of
a
a
good
lich.
question.
His name is Abinthy.
I have a feeling that Abinthy has some plans. As for Newgate, I don't have the time, to be frank. Maybe after. I'll think about it. But I better go. They will be leaving any moment. I just... If we win,
When you win.
I wanted to be here. Thanks.
You got this.
Edward will, like, open his arms for a hug. Him and Nifendel aren't traditionally very
It's
intimate.
Very
physically,
formal
you know?
relationship, absolutely.
Yeah, and so...
She'll stand up
Pat.
and just kind of come over and
Awkward Voldemort
give
hug.
you a little hug, a little awkward hug.
Mm. And then Edward will kind of like back up and straighten up and bow slightly and be like, "It was an honor."
What?
Okay.
It's tradition. It's what they've always done.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think.
Yeah. And then Edward will leave, go back to the homies to finish this thing once and for all.
Abinthy sees him and he goes, Edward, how was your conversation with your mother? Did it go well?
Actually, it went very well. We'll be
Good.
staying at the keep. Or not the keep, sorry, our estate. We'll be
Well, that's
staying at our
nice.
estate.
Although
You'll
that
have
is a
to see
good
it once it's
question, though.
finished.
I mean, I don't know what you guys want to do with the keep afterwards. I feel like it'd be a good idea to repair it, though, right? I mean, like, Edward, you could do that in like a day.
I mean, my
right?
workshop is down here, so I'm still going to be using that.
Well, Abinthy is still the, head
The groundskeeper?
overseer of the
You
project.
can just use your
yes.
fancy little creation thing to just fully rebuild it, can't you?
I suppose that I might not be able to do all the magics required.
I mean, but can't you just fully create things from your imagination using the creation spell?
Yeah, but it might be worth keeping around somebody who knows how to do magic. You might have to.
Well, I mean,
know,
I'm sure
maybe.
Leshka's available.
He's asking
Just-
you to rebuild the house so he can keep up the maintenance with it.
Leshka just
They're saying
like
the same
reads. So I'm sure that
That
Leshka
actually
would
is
probably be
true.
available.
I'm sure Leshka. I mean, he has helped
You
us a
know, how
lot.
about
I feel
this?
like he talked to me about an application for promotion. I think if this goes well, I think it might be worth considering.
We can promote him to sub-manager.
You know, after we defeat Clovar, let's say we all revisit back at the keep and we decide what we want to do with it. Right?
I think that's
a good plan. Yes.
And
We'll table
Edward,
it.
Edward, I'm glad that you went and spoke to your mother. When I was a boy and I left home, I don't have many regrets. But not saying goodbye to them was a mistake that I made. So I'm glad that you did not repeat what I have done. And your mother is a kind and wonderful, beautiful woman who deserves a good send-off. And I just want you to know that if you fall in battle,
Okay.
I don't want you to worry, because I will make sure that your mother is all right.
Thank you, Abinthy. That's
Abinthy,
very
Don't worry,
comforting.
I'll take care of your mom.
Abinthy,
I'm grateful I didn't repeat that.
Yes,
mistake.
yes, Gather.
you're engaged.
It's an open relationship.
Okay, that's not what
technically,
he
his
meant,
mom is
Cather.
still married.
Please have
I
some
think
dignity.
based on that response, that's 100% what he meant.
Oh, good.
Well, I mean, but his mother is a married
now I
woman too. We would have a
surely
lot to
can't
talk about.
die. I surely can't die with that.
I'm
on-
sure that she
on the
has
table.
plenty of good advice.
Don't worry,
as
Edward. I will.
Edward will be on the
being in
verge
a
of
married
death, and
relationship.
instead of his life flashing before his eyes, it's the future of Abinthy with his mom, and he's like, nope.
No, it's
Can't do that.
Abinthy fathering. It's Abinthy being his like stepfather.
your stepdad.
Where Abinthy's like, Edward, like or
Son!
whatever. Yeah, Edward's like, no,
Edward,
this
you
can't
clean your
happen.
room?
No matter what, Cather,
Edward,
don't let me
I've
die. This
warned
can't
you.
happen.
Edward, if I will use all of my power to make sure that you are for sure the one that comes back alive.
Thank you, and you don't have my blessing, by the way, in case.
Oh, I've never cared about the gods or blessings.
That is true.
Anyway, we should get started. I already sent the troops there.
Yeah,
so they should be
what is it
laying
that you did with the
siege.
pyramid?
I just rounded up a whole group of chosen fighters. I stopped by Athala, picked up a few. I briefly went to hell, so there are a couple of fiends in the mix there. I'm hoping that goes well. Don't worry, I dropped them off on the other side. So if they want to get to the humans, they have to go through the bad ones.
Right.
I grabbed a couple of old friends from the plane of fire.
You have
I
old
just
friends from the
bounced-
plane
I
of
just-
fire.
Well, most of them are enemies, but I had to have a couple. But yeah, so I have no idea what it's going to look like down there, but I'm sure that they've already started. And then hopefully that distraction. I contacted Tavut, and let me tell you, that old girl's a real jailbreaker. So I put her on the job of seeing what she can do about your significant other. So
Thank you.
if she can
Abinthy.
get to the door,
Really?
she's better than I am at jailbreaking magic when it comes to actual physical locks and bonds. She's been teaching me a lot. So we'll see how that goes. But we should really get going and see if we can deal with Clovar before things get too bad. Does that sound just about right? Is there anything else that we need to do? Anything else that we need to say?
Well,
Suppose now it's as good as a time as any other. I mean, considering.
Kiyomura comes rushing in at this point, and he's fully like donned in armor, and he's got like a handful of like a sack of snacks, and his like three-part staff just kind of like tucked under his arm, and he's like, "We're leaving, right?"
I mean,
absolutely did not forget that you were a part of this at all. We were just waiting for you.
Abinthy, I suppose my only thought would be, I gave away my helm of teleportation, right?
Yes.
If you happen to have any spare magic items that you thought would be helpful, I'm open to suggestions. Otherwise, all I
Drew,
really
you're down a allotment.
Otherwise, I mean, I have like this like ring of it's called the Ring of the Ram. Like I can like push somebody away and deal some damage, but it feels kind of weak for like what we're going up against. Or I have this cloak of fire resistance that Havel made me ages ago.
All right. So here's my question, DM.
Uh-huh.
Abinthy, without a doubt, has been forever making things for the group. He knows all their measurements.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to bring it up because he feels that it's overbearing.
Okay.
I don't have it on me right now, but could I make an item for him? And then for the fight, he'll have it?
Sure.
Sweet. I go, yeah.
I've dreamed of this day. There will never be a moment where you have looked better
All right,
than
then.
in this fight. You have no idea.
I
Also, did you know that canonically, out of all of the people we know, you have the largest bust size?
Oh
it was
my God.
absolute hell trying to craft this to fit around any part of you. But we got there, everybody.
Oh my god.
So let it be known.
Well-
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
thank you.
You're welcome. Now we should go. I'll give it to you mid-transit.
Right.
I love it. So-
Yeah, so I'll line up
We
To do-
cue the
All right,
dope
everybody,
remix
it's time.
song.
It's time.
We
Everybody
cue
starts
the dope
doing
remix
preparations.
song for you guys to don.
Oh. Should I turn it down?
Yeah. No, turn it up a
Drew,
little bit.
cut the music. Drew, cut the music.
Okay.
It's gonna go away soon.
Get on it, DJ.
Yeah, GJ. Over.
Oh, I'm supposed to be doing this. You guys.
Here, wait. Ready? Okay,
All right,
ready?
we got this. We rehearsed
Yeah,
this.
is it at a good volume? Is it at a good volume, Drew?
A little,
Yeah.
little more,
Yeah,
actually.
a little bit more. Little bit.
Okay, as long as you can hear DJ. Okay, ready? Here we go.
You guys go back to your respective rooms. Each of you don the armor that you will save the world. Grab your weapons, your armor, your magic items before reconvening at your teleportation circle or wherever Abinthy wants you to meet. And with that, so you guys are going to teleport to Wisteria Vale, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we do that. That's
Yeah,
what
we
we
do
do.
that.
my
That's amazing.
gosh! I thought you were gonna end the
Nah,
session.
no.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
I should have done that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Oh my
I
god.
literally thought you were gonna go like, and with that, we will end tonight's session. I was like, it's all right. You did great.
Oh, that
It's okay. It's okay.
real
We,
missed opportunity.
we
right
can we
there.
can end with us, going to the place.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We-
exactly.
We teleport to Wisteria Vale.
Yeah, that's basically how I feel. With all that being said, you guys get ready to make your way to Wisteria Vale. And with that being said, we're gonna end tonight's session.
Oh man.
Oh
Thank
my
you guys
goodness.
so much for watching. Hopefully next
Can't
week
believe it.
we'll be live, but there's potential for us to have to do a pre-record episode or something like that. So hopefully there's an episode next week. If not, we do have a little bit of time, but there's only a few more episodes left of this whole campaign. We're getting ready for the big
Bro.
guns. So
Insane.
to all of you guys that are up to date, have been keeping up with it, thank you guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us. If you're catching up and you're just getting to this point, hopefully you're able to catch one of the last couple of episodes before they go live.
And for
or
those of
as
you
they go live.
waiting for the podcast, I will
And the YouTube.
I will have some real amount of time this week. I got
Let's
some prep,
go.
I got some decent amount of prep work done last week on the podcast. I should be able to get some good progress on that. So by I'd say Thursday podcast will be fully up to date, and everybody can enjoy the finale.
Same with YouTube this
absolutely.
week. Yeah.
Without anything left for us to say, right? There's nothing else left. Come back for table scraps.
Yep. So
Game
I don't know.
scraps.
Thursday I should be available.
Fantastic.
Somewhere between 1:30 and 3:30 is our start time. You'll know for sure if you're in the Discord. I send a message that says when I'm going live and stuff like that. So be there, and I will be talking about this episode and plans for the future, what all we got going on, what we think is going to happen, what we're excited about that has happened, and what the thoughts going through our heads, some of the behind the scenes process as well. It's a great time over at Table Scraps. I'm often joined by Drew or another cast member, and we talk it out,
Have a
good
grand old time. Yeah.
So
Absolutely. With all that being said, good luck and Godspeed, Dungeoneers. We will see you next time. Have a great rest of your night. So long.
Goodbye, everybody.